Welcome back to the Cinebums channel. I really appreciate you guys being back here. We're going to take a quick break from the Decade series because Carlos is back again. But we're going to do something a little different just due to scheduling issues. We couldn't get everyone here, but we're going to do sort of an impromptu switch to a different topic, which is our top 5 comfort movies, which is actually something I've wanted to do for a really long time. You know, just talk about stuff that's really personal to us, and I don't know, maybe recommend some movies like if you're feeling depressed or down, these could help bring you back up. But we have 2 very special guests on the episode today. 2 guys I've wanted to come on here for a long time. First up, we got Mike, who's a great guy, great film lover, just a great all-around human being. And thanks for coming on, man.
Not a problem. My pleasure.
Absolutely. And the legend himself. You've probably seen his YouTube videos if you watch the Misfit Pond, Bill Griff. Thanks, dude.
Thank you for having me, Jake. It's a pleasure. I'm glad I was a part of the Avengers that were assembled here for this.
I was going to make that analogy, but I felt like it was anti-Kino, so I didn't want to.
As long as I'm not Hawkeye, this is good.
Damn, shade at Jeremy Renner right after the accident, man. That was a while ago, so it didn't even work.
Bill is he's a Morbius.
Morbius in the Avengers.
Yeah, he's in the Avengers now.
Damn, dude. Jared Leto just cashing in. But yeah, we're going to talk about our top 5 comfort movies, which is kind of like, I feel like we all very panicked. We had this really last minute conversation about doing this, so we kind of threw together our list. But me personally, it wasn't that hard because I just thought about like what movies I watch like when I'm sick or like feeling down or just like want to show, I don't know, like watch with a significant other. That's kind of like how I chose. Like, how did you guys choose your comfort watches?
You want me to go first? I'll go first.
Whoever, anyone.
Well, it was kind of a mixed standard because some of this is just really personal. Like for a lot, but there's a few films in here that aren't going to be comfort films for like 99% of the population. One in particular, I know that'll definitely be the case. Because it's not necessarily like a warm blanket kind of movie because it's a very like intense kind of film. But it's just a really personal pick. So the way I went about picking them was like, okay, what are just like personal picks of films that, a combination of films that I grew up with that I just have so much experience with them that me putting them on just gives me so much comfort now. And then I have some films that are just outright comfort films, like for anybody, like even for somebody who were to watch them right now for the first time would find them like very comforting. So,
yeah, absolutely. That was kind of like for me, it was like a mix of like what is personal taste, but also like what has the aesthetic and like a tone of like what a comfort movie exudes, which is like, I feel like it's warmth and sort of good vibes all around, I guess, is like for lack of a better word, But yeah, as tradition though, for all Cinebums podcasts, we got to talk about the last great thing we watched. So if you got to pull out your diary for Letterboxd, go ahead and do so. But how about Mike? You want to go first? Like, what's the last great thing you saw?
Gladly. Well, I've been watching a lot of movies lately in preparation for our podcast. But the last great movie I saw that stuck out the most was Wendy and Lucy, directed by Kelly Reichardt.
Hell yeah, dude.
I know Jake is a huge fan.
Yeah.
He did that for me. He brought it. Yeah, thank you.
Of course. And it really was my first movie experience from her, and I really couldn't have been more pleased. I thought it was beautiful. Michelle Williams was incredible in it. If you don't know what the movie is about, it's super simple. It's very neo-realistic. It's basically about a woman who's just living like a drifter, and she like lives out of her car with her dog, and it kind of follows like it's like a couple days, like what 2 days, like a day or two, and
Hmm.
you just see her really trying to survive. There is something that happens, um, early on in the movie that kind of sets in motion her journey, and it was just such a simple movie, but just so powerful. This is beautifully directed, beautifully performed, super heart wrenching. So it had an incredible ending, and I really can't wait to dive more into Kelly Reichardt's movies because I was honestly pretty blown away. Just very amazed by the emotion and just the simplicity on display. It's really a great movie, and if you haven't seen
Mhm.
it, I'd highly recommend it. I think really anyone could enjoy it. I know Kelly Reichardt is known for being like I don't know, being a big part of like the slow cinema kind of movement side of like art house filmmaking. But I mean the pace of this movie I thought was great. I didn't feel bored like once. I thought it was just I mean purposefully slow. Um but it never lost me once. It was really just great from start to finish, and that's definitely like a highlight of what I've seen recently. So I'd highly recommend Wendy and Lucy to anyone.
As would I. And it warms my heart that you brought it up slash loved the movie because if anyone knows me personally, that movie means a great deal to me, as does Kelly Reichardt. And I'll definitely do a deeper analysis and soundbite on that when we do our 2000s episode because that will definitely be coming up in the best of 2000s. But Bill, Carlos, you guys
Well,
fuck with Reichardt.
yeah. I'm
Hell yeah.
I'm actually really glad that you enjoyed that film, Mike. I love Wendy and Lucy. It's definitely my favorite of her filmography.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that film a lot too. That movie that movie got me really like emotional.
Yeah.
It's just a film that I mean, not only just in one part, but like just throughout the film, it just feels like a very emotional experience.
It's very
Um,
anxiety inducing. Like
Very
Yeah.
much.
a
Yeah.
lot it just keeps you like on edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just it was which is one of the things that took me by surprise most. It was like
Yeah.
genuinely a sense of like anything could happen, and I thought that was
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly always puts you in the shoes of her characters just so seamlessly. And like in that one, especially, like the point of view of that character is so prevalent in that movie. And like when things, no spoilers, but when things go awry for her, it's like really devastating. And then by the end, it's like the polar opposite, like very cathartic. It's so beautiful. And if anyone wants like another Kelly Reichardt recommendation, First Cow, obviously, but Certain Women is a great anthology film. That's a Criterion, actually. It's so beautiful. It's so great. So I'll always promote Kelly when I can.
Yeah, I wore my first cow shirt today when I went to go fishing.
Oh, shit, you have a First Cow shirt? Oh my
Yeah.
God. I'm jealous. I love that film so much.
Same.
So
Nice.
good. Bill, you want to go next, man?
This is actually a perfect time for you to ask me this question, Jake, because I just logged my 4,000th film on Letterboxd. Now, it's
shit.
not fully 4,000 movies, of course, because there's tons of shorts in there, but
Sure.
I finally watched Synecdoche, New York from Charlie
nice,
Kaufman,
Nice.
and I'm still processing it. I just recently watched it, not even been 24 hours. It's quite a film. It's quite a headsy film. It tackles basically every creative's worst nightmare, which is to just die without making a lasting impression in the world. At least that's my interpretation with it. And I resonated with it a lot. I'm surprised at how funny it was. Like there's a lot of funny sequences and editing and just distorted reality in it that is I thought was incredible. And also Philip Seymour Hoffman, Jesus Christ, he's such a treasured actor. And it's even more heartbreaking watching this film knowing that he's passed on. But yeah, I'm really glad I finally saw Synecdoche, New York. A very ironic movie for me to log for the 4,000th.
4,000th, yeah.
It's like, damn, I guess I should have watched this sooner.
That is a pretty life altering movie though, for like to celebrate a milestone on Letterboxd. Like that's definitely one one for the books, and like another talking 2000s, like another movie that you could definitely bring up as like a decade defining movie. And like also that I think that's a little prevalent too, because Beau is Afraid. I saw a lot of similarities within like the themes and the structure of those movies, the sense of humor in those movies. So if you guys like Beau is Afraid, I think Synecdoche is like right up your alley as well. At least I think so. I think it's like you could compare certain aspects of them, but I love that movie too. If you did love it overall, I thought it was great.
If you hated it, maybe don't check out, because it's
Yeah,
kind of the same.
It is. Yeah.
What were
you saying, Mike?
Afraid. I still need to see Beau is Afraid. It's showtimes are getting smaller and smaller here. So I like in your review, Carlos, that you compared it to Holy Mountain. That definitely that sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like that. The level of absurdity. The only film that like came to like the mind on instinct was the Holy Mountain. It's just like
totally
throws so much at you, like when it comes to like its absurdity in the same way. So
I was telling my friend when we walked out of Beau, it was like it reminded me of Jordowski, but also like Roy Anderson at times, like I don't know if you guys have seen Roy Anderson movies, but like how much he packs into the frames of like really chaotic imagery, like with people like 100 yards away and just like shit happening. Like how much he just throws into every shot is just staggering in that movie, especially like on the street, like by his house in his apartment in the beginning. Like there's so much going on. And like the absurdity, like you were talking about. Yeah. It's I'm still thinking about that movie like 2 weeks later. So
I love it so much.
That's really great. What about you, Carlito? What have you seen?
So recently, the best thing that I've seen, and I think it's a fantastic film. Honestly, I think it's a masterpiece. Is Debbie from Satyajit Ray.
Satyajit Ray.
Yeah, that film is. I mean, dude, it's crazy. Like I've seen two of Ray's films, The Hero and Debbie, and to me, they're both masterpieces in their own way. It's just I have a really great feeling that Ray is gonna work his way up really quickly, like in my top 10 favorite filmmakers of all time. Just his filmmaking style resonates so much with me. So far from the two films that I've seen, there's just so much craftsmanship, not only in his presentation, but like the writing is so like insightful and mature and profound. And he just writes like incredibly nuanced stories, like both narratively and thematically, that I can't get enough of. Debbie is a perfect example of that. I mean, simply, it's basically a film where the main character, she basically gets deemed a goddess by her father because he had like a dream/vision of her being a goddess, basically. I don't know, I forgot which one off the top of my head, but basically the film kind of shows you how, within the culture, being deemed a goddess actually like restricts your free will in life, like extremely. And it's just a great movie. Like it's just a very thematically rich movie on every front. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to give too much more away about it because it is a really simple film. It's only like an hour and 30 minutes, like on the dot. But that movie is it's so thought provoking, so beautifully captured, and artful as hell too. Like it doesn't give you like a bow tie ending. It's very interpretive, really like ambiguous and profound, and I just love it so much. I definitely recommend it. It's on Criterion too, so definitely like if you're thinking of blind buying that, I would definitely say go for it.
Cool.
Absolutely. Satyajit Ray, like you always ride hard for him because like The Hero you always ride hard for, and then Panther Panchali on the 50s episode, which was made the list because of you. So he's one of your guys now, definitely.
Yeah, and I haven't even seen the Apu trilogy. So like, and I was still pushing for it because I just know, like, just from The Hero at the time, that was the only one I saw. I'm like, dude, I just like from this film, just this one film alone, I know that this dude is extremely talented or was extremely talented. So, he's definitely going to be like my new like favorite dude because like I've only seen two from him so far, and I'm deeply in love with both of them. So I think they're just both like a masterful display of filmmaking.
I will second Carlos's opinion on Devi. I think it was a really good film, especially the cinematography and the soundtrack was really well done.
Oh hell yeah, I love the score.
Yeah.
There's
It's it's so simplistic but very calming. I love sitar instruments, honestly. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say, like, the Apu trilogy is so simplistic but so rich. Like the way he shoots everything and the way he depicts just natural life and like normal life and everything is so brilliant, I think. And there's a reason why like he's the most revered. Like I know like I've heard like Scorsese and Coppola and all these people like talk about who their biggest inspirations were, and they always talk about Sachi Aray. So I think he's on that Mount Rushmore for a reason. So I need to see Debbie too. There's so many like I've read like on Letterboxd from like these just all seem so compelling, like his whole filmography. So definitely want to do a deep dive.
That's just so exciting about it is that he has so much, like he has so many films that I have yet to see, and I'm pretty sure they're all going to be fantastic. So
Mm-hmm.
You really
like-
sold me on The Hero when you reviewed that way back when. I still really want to see that one. The
hell
only
yeah, dude.
movie from Rai I've seen is Pather Panchali. My dad like years ago. I remember enjoying it a lot.
It's really good.
But yeah, I'd love to take a
Yeah,
deeper dive into his movies.
I mean, everybody who has seen The Hero, based off what I've said about it, they all have loved it. Like almost everybody that has watched it because of me has given it like a 9 or 10. So it's been getting a good track record so far.
Didn't you not like the Hero, Bill? Like I remember
I did originally rate it as a 3 just to see what Carlos's reaction would be.
He's trolling me.
Yeah,
It was a little troll.
It was a little troll, but I do love that film a lot. That's probably my favorite so far. But
Wow.
I'm very excited to check out the Apu trilogy whenever I do.
You guys will love it. And I've heard the music room also is like incredible. Like that's a lot on a lot of people's like best of Ray list too. He just seems like a master, honestly. So I can't wait to watch more for sure. And I'll do mine though for what I watched recently. Speaking of masters, I have one of my good friends out here, Jack. Shout out to him. He watches the pod. His favorite movie of all time is Amakord. And I went over to his place yesterday and we watched Amakord. And I'd never seen it. And I'd been a little hot and cold on Fellini, to be quite honest with you. Like 8.5, I wasn't super crazy about. I know that's pretty blasphemous for a lot of the film community, but I did not love 8.5. And I saw this movie called Satyricon that was a little mixed. I love Lestrada. I mean, I'll defend Blair's honor. Like Lestrada's incredible. Like that's one of my favorite Fellinis. But I have to say, I think my favorite Fellini now is Amakord. I think that movie is just. I think it's like the blend of everything Fellini was doing in his career, kind of like amalgamated into that film. And it wasn't his final film, but it kind of feels like, you know, like Scorsese with The Irishman, let's say, like it kind of feels like, okay, I might have one less film in me. Like, what do I want to say? What do I have to kind of enrapture people with for my last piece of work? And I feel like that movie just, from every standpoint in film that you could think of, like acting, directing, cinematography, soundtrack, cinematography, production design, like that movie just hits on all cylinders. And I know people are very mixed on the tone of that movie because it's very juvenile, because like there's a lot of like sex jokes and fart jokes and stuff like that. But to me, I think there was like a lot of intent behind all of that stuff. I know Perry in particular, we were talking about that, has a lot of problems with Amakord, but I think it's the best Fellini movie personally, and I want to be fair to 8.5 and rewatch it one day because I got a lot of shit for 3-star in that movie, but I wasn't as into it. But Amakord, I think, is a 10 out of 10 best Fellini film. And if you guys haven't fallen in love with Fellini so far, that's the one I'd recommend, because like that's the one that made me rethink. I'm like, oh shit, now I see the hype behind this filmmaker. So yeah. Have you guys seen that movie?
I actually have seen it. It's one of the 3 Fellinis I've seen. I've seen 8.5, La Dolce Vita, and Amakord. I don't remember a lot from it. This is years ago. This is actually when I visited Atlanta. This is when I was just going on a crazy binge of movies. I remember I did enjoy it a lot, and you're definitely right. When you say like the tone of that movie, it's definitely different. From like, I don't know if you're comparing it to like 8.5, it's more juvenile. It's way more comedic. I mean, I like that about it because I mean, as from what I read, it's one of Fellini's most personal movies.
Yeah.
Based mainly on his childhood, if I'm right. I didn't mind it knowing that it was just such a personal movie, and it was cool to see him do whatever he wanted, and I mean, it was funny. It was very beautifully photographed. I definitely wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I did really enjoy that movie a lot, and I'd love to give it a rewatch. It's actually a fun fact. That's actually the fourth movie released on Criterion.
Wow, ever?
Yeah,
Wow.
right.
That's crazy.
But yeah,
Damn.
really good movie, and it's due for a rewatch for me personally.
Yeah, I have a hot take with Fellini too, so don't worry, Jake. I mean, I love 8.5. I love that movie quite a bit. I've only seen it once, but it's really like stuck with me for a while. But La Dolce Vita didn't really do much for me. I gave that movie. I 3-starred that movie. So,
Oof.
yeah.
That's the only ones you've seen though, right? Or have you seen others?
Yeah. No, I think that's it. Actually, yeah.
See, the only ones I've seen are 8.5, Knights of Cabiria, and La Dolce Vita, and I will say 8.5 is my favorite of all those.
I'm definitely in the minority on that one because like everyone, even like from the most famous directors, will say that's like one of the best films ever made. I don't know.
But honestly, after watching that film, like I can totally understand why somebody wouldn't like be in love with it. Like it makes sense. It's not like a film where like you just can't understand why somebody would not be huge into it. To me, it's like one of those films where it just makes sense why somebody wouldn't be.
That's definitely a relief. Yeah, because every time I bring that up to somebody, people are like, "How could you not?" But it's like I think it's the self-indulgent factor of Fellini in that film kind of was like off-putting to me in a way, and like a little repetitious. But I feel like 10 years from now I'll watch it and like completely change my opinion on it. To be honest with you, so TBD.
I saw in the theater like after the pandemic opened. After the pandemic like kind of died down and like theaters opened, that was an awesome experience. I mean, I think that helped.
Yeah.
I liked 8.5 so much. I'd probably consider it one of my favorite movies personally. But
Oh wow.
yeah, I could absolutely though sympathize why it would be kind of a tough sell on first watch. But just for me personally, it was just I don't know, just being in a theater for the first time in so long and being immersed like that into Fellini's world for the first time was really just kind of a joy and just really memorable.
All you got to do is just market to people, say it's black and white Babylon. You know, they'll be like, "Oh, all right."
That's a good way to
See, and I love Babylon, and I watched those around
Same.
the same time. Maybe that's what tainted it. I was like, Damien Chazelle did it better than Fellini. No, that's
Oh Lord.
that's a joke. That's a joke.
Damn, you're gonna
But-
get crucified for that. All
Hey,
the
Bill,
Italians.
You made the whole montage about it. You're the biggest Babylon
Oh yeah,
fan on this Zoom right now.
I'm genuinely shocked that soundtrack did not win Best Score at the Oscars. I don't
was
know what
pissed,
that
dude.
was.
I didn't see Quiet on the Western Front, but that's like the best score of the year, like bar none. Babylon. I
The
was
thing
shocked.
is, there's nothing wrong with the score for All Quiet on the Western Front. It's just
Yeah.
very like, I don't know. It's more or less basic compared to something like Babylon. That not only is the Babylon score like more unique, but it just to me it's like a hell of a lot more creative and engaging than the score to All Quiet on the Western Front. So
I think even the
yeah.
people that don't like Babylon even admitted like that score is like incredible, like one of the best. And like that guy won for La La Land, I think, and like that, I think Babylon's a way better score than La La Land. It's like
Yeah, I agree.
I'm also not huge on La La Land too, but
seen Babylon, but I did walk into like I was working at the theater one night and just walked in. I think it was during the end credits, but I agree. Like the soundtrack, I mean, just from I don't know the end credits theme alone was like wow, this bangs, this
it
slaps.
bangs.
Yeah, it does.
Oh yeah.
I've loved it, and I've been dying to see that movie.
The shot when Avatar comes on
Yeah, I was
screen
gonna
at the end,
say.
so transformative.
I was like, Mike, did you walk in when they were showing Avatar? He's like,
Oh,
fuck,
no.
I'm in the wrong theater again.
I do know what you're talking about. I mean, I've had the end montage spoiled a bunch of times, but
Yeah.
I'm still dying.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Even if it is like overly sappy, it's really fun. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
And shout out to James Cameron for making it in.
Yeah.
Anyhow, yeah, that's a great quadruple choice group of choices that we mentioned there. Like really great movies overall. So comfort watches. We're each going to do similar to the decades. We're going to do like 5-1, but this is unranked because we kind of realized that there's really no way to gauge the ranking of a top 5 comfort watch. So we're just going to go for it since this was really unplanned anyway. So we'll do the same order that we just did, I guess. Mike, your number 5 comfort watch.
Okay, great. Number 5. Okay, number 5. Again, these are in no particular order. These are just,
No,
movies.
no.
Just have, I don't know, just a special place in my heart. I can just pop them in any day of the week. Most of them, make me feel like just like really positive. Just, I don't know, give me just good vibes to go off of. But my number 5 is one of my favorite comedies of the 2000s. I'm gonna go with Superbad for
Yes.
my number 5 because I don't know how you can't love Superbad. For me personally, this movie's been around in my life forever. From just watching it on TV in the early 2000s, just over and over and over on FX. Just seeing the hype when it first came out in theaters. There's just a lot of memories connected to this movie. It's one of the most quotable movies I think ever made. And just miraculously, I rewatched it like I don't know, a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. It holds up incredibly well. Like I don't know, just how they did it, but this movie just feels so timeless to me. It doesn't feel like stuck in some like I don't know crappy like 2000s like pop culture like joke. Like it just feels so natural. The chemistry just in this whole cast is just amazing. So it's just really from start to finish, just incredible, just so enjoyable. You can really watch it any day of the week, and that's kind of why it's a comfort movie to me. I can pop it in any day, and it'll just put me in such a great mood and just give me such a positive outlook. Just really, I don't know, I just get sucked in for 2 hours, and it's just such a compelling experience, and I really can't get enough of it. And I know Carlos can probably sympathize with me, and we quote the hell out of this movie all the time. It's great. It's
Bro,
not there's much more for me to say about that.
You just made me smile like the whole time, dude. I fucking love that movie so much.
It's so great.
I agree, dude. It's so fucking quotable. I have so much experience with it. Like I made so many memories off that movie alone. And yeah, I agree. I don't think it's fucking like stuck in an era or anything. I feel like it's timeless. The fucking edge to that movie is just perfect. Like it's just a perfect amount of edge. All the cock and ball jokes work so well, and it's just like I don't know.
It's like a masterclass in like juvenile humor.
Yes,
and stuff. Like I don't know. Like it never gets old, and I've seen it like probably like hundreds of times, so many times, and just every time it just makes me laugh as hard as it did the first time. And I think that's the sign of just a great freaking. I don't know, just a movie, not even just a comfort movie. That's never loses its steam. I don't.
Fun fact, a Bill Griff fun fact. That's actually the first R-rated movie I saw was Superbad.
I think the same. Yeah, I think around the same too. I saw that when I was like 12, maybe younger.
Oh yeah, I was easily like 10, 10, and I remember plugging in the DVD late at night because it was my brother's DVD, but he left the house, so I just sneaked in at night, put it in, and I understood barely anything of the jokes, but I loved it. Still loved it. I had no idea what was happening, but yeah, that's easily a classic in my books. I love to rewatch that at least once a year.
Yeah, I watched it when I was 13, I believe, because I watched it when I was 8th grade, which is like I think the perfect time to watch a movie like Superbad. Honestly,
I was totally. 7 when it came out, 2007. I was born in 2000. But even then, like I remember, my brothers were dying to see this in the theaters. It was a summer movie. The hype was pretty high for this. I remember they wanted to sneak me in because they were just so excited. My dad didn't let me, but it stopped me from just watching it on FX just after it came out on DVD. Just dozens and dozens of times, nonstop. And again, amazing memories connected to it, and still, honestly, just such a joy to show to new people who haven't seen it.
What's your favorite scene in the film?
Oh my god!
We should all say our favorite scene.
Let's all say our favorite scenes.
I gotta think about that. My favorite scene personally is Bill Hader, Seth Rogen when they first come to the crime scene.
Oh yeah,
and they're asking like the dumbest fucking questions ever. And it's like
a black
African Jew wearing a hoodie. It's like how they escalate this is so incredible. And then when they interrogate McLovin, like that whole sequence, I think is the funniest. But also, you know, period blood. It's all great.
Yeah, I think I have to. I don't know. There's so many fucking good scenes in that movie, but one that comes to mind is definitely the fucking dick drawing scene, like montage sequence. It's so good.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
Well, you, Bill.
As much like my favorite character for sure is Bill Hader as the cop.
Yes,
but
Officer Michaels or Slater, right?
But I will say one of my favorite scenes is when Jonah Hill's like, "Fuck this, I'm gonna go get the alcohol myself." And we see all the different scenarios in his head of how he's gonna mess up. Like it's almost Lynchian. The levels of dreams.
It does, dude. Yeah. It's like, what is reality?
Like he gets the old lady to buy it for him. She's like, "Good luck, fucking Jules." Yeah. I will.
You fucking killed her.
The cop like slits his throat with the bottle.
Don't do it, kid. I never had a choice.
I never had a choice.
Followed by the iconic
You fucking killed her.
You fucking killed her.
Followed by the iconic quote where what is it? Where Michael Cera's like, "Take that vest off."
You look like
Aladdin.
You know, a lot of those shooting locations for that movie I visited because they're kind of semi close to where I live. Like I went to the liquor store, and the school and everything. And it was so insane to like see where they filmed that movie and just like act out the scenes with my friends and stuff. It was so fun. Like I had the same experience where like but the first time I saw that movie, like this really dates it. I remember my friend brought it over on his PSP, like the little disc drive. And we like my parents were really conservative. So like we had to like hunker down in my room and watch it like underneath a tent or some shit, like during a sleepover. And again, like what you said, like I didn't understand most of the humor in that movie, but it was still like a blast to watch in the moment when you're like 10 years old.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's an amazing pick. That would make my list too, honestly, if I knew someone was gonna bring it up too. So Bill, do you want to go?
I'm gonna continue the brain rot comedy train right here with my number 5. This is actually a film
brain rot.
I know for sure Carlos loves this film.
Oh, here we go.
Oh god, I think it's from 2010. It's The Other Guys from Adam.
Oh yes,
I love that movie.
I find that film so quotable, and every time I rewatch it, there's just a new layer of comedy that I'm attracted to and love. I fucking adore Michael Keaton's character in the
Bed
film.
Bath and Beyond.
Yep. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Oh my god.
Is that a TLC?
You just quoted CLC again.
Yeah. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Dude, that's a better performance than Birdman. Come on.
No one says creep unless they're quoting TLC.
See,
I don't want no scrubs.
Every scene in that movie I love. I don't think there's a single dull moment in my head. Because if anything, any slow moment, it's just more comedy. Just seeing Mark Wahlberg be a dickbag while Will Ferrell is just this pure loving soul that's so dumb.
Oh, holy shit, dude!
There's
Dirty Mike and the Boys.
Oh yeah, there's so much to that film, and I truly think it's Adam McKay's magnum opus. It's such a sadness to me that he became serious and made Vice and Don't Look Up. I wish he'd just go back to his roots and make The Other Guys too. That's what we need desperately, more than anything.
I pay so much money to watch The Other Guys too.
Me too, man. Me too. You know, my favorite line in that movie is Mark Wahlberg when he's like, "I'm a peacock. You got to let me fly on this one."
Okay, let's get this straight, Terry. Peacocks don't fly. Okay. As much as a penguin.
They get a little running start.
Yeah. As much as a
They
penguin.
get a little start. They can fly a little bit. Oh my god.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Like you're saying with the slow parts too, like just scenes with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg like interrogating people. Like they go to like his ex-girlfriend's house and the guy like Brett Gelman's there. And like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about? The scene where like my name's Christina.
Yeah, Christina.
Yeah.
Are you stupid or are you deaf?
You get back here and have sex with my wife.
He wants to like cuck himself. Yeah.
World's biggest cuck. Oh my god.
He's the Tom.
And then Eva
Adam McKay
Mendes
universe.
is his wife. Yeah. Oh my god.
I
Great
love that.
movie.
Nothing beats the rooftop jump scene though. Aim for the
Oh
bushes.
yeah. God. Aim for the bushes.
Even people who aren't huge on that movie love that scene. I'm sorry, what did you say? I think you were saying something, Mike. I like spoke
I'm
over
just thinking my hero because
There goes
Yeah.
my hero.
you.
That's a master class in like absurdist, shocking humor. Because like I remember showing that movie to people for the first time, and it catches everyone off guard.
Yeah.
Like, no, wait. There's no bottom. Oh, so
Wasn't it even an awning in their direction?
yeah. There's not.
They jumped
Yeah,
20
you're
stories.
I
This is
only
what-
hope God lets them take their 357s with them to heaven.
Oh yeah. There's a few. Oh, they're like at the funeral and they're like wrestling, and Michael Keaton comes up and he's like yelling at them, but he's also whispering. He's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah.
There's a million bits in that movie I could bring up right now. It's so good.
Yeah. I love the scene where Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg are trying to convince the guy not to jump from the balcony. And he's
Soda
like,
pop.
soda pop.
Nice glass
Like-
of soda pop.
There are many things to live for in this life, like soda pop, like a nice fresh can of soda pop.
Then he just jumps immediately. He's like, "Oh look,
Like,
he's flying."
Oh look, he's flying.
Blows his whistle that Keaton gave him.
That's a rape
Yeah.
whistle.
Yeah, he progressively like he takes away his gun and he gives him a wooden gun. He's like, "I'll just give you a whistle."
You know,
Oh.
one of these guys, they put a linseed oil on it. Might want to write them a thank you note.
I love the bit too when they're like trying to interrogate Steve Coogan and he keeps giving them like Knicks tickets and like
Yeah.
tickets to like Jersey Boys and
Yeah.
stuff. I love it too.
I love that too,
Yeah.
man. Oh my god, that movie just man. These are some great picks so far, dude.
Yeah.
Superbad and the other guys. I would have definitely included that.
We gotta fuck. I gotta cut myself off. I could keep talking about the other guys. Carlos, go ahead. What's your number
Same.
5?
All right, I'm gonna start this off with a bang. To me, this is a magnum opus of filmmaking. Got Shrek.
Yeah.
Oscar-winning
Dude.
film, Shrek.
Dude,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were
Shrek
just
is-
talking about that. Yeah.
Shrek is, oh my god, dude! I've seen Shrek like an ungodly amount of times. Honestly, probably one of my most watched movies like ever. And it just never gets old. It's insane how many times you can watch that movie and it just never gets old. It's just always funny, always charming. It's and the jokes like for I mean a PG rated movie, some of them kind of push the boundaries here and there because they're kind of like, I mean, some are more subtle than others, but I think it's just in terms of like the comedy and also the concept of the film itself. The concept to me is really creative. It's kind of like this fairy tale that you never heard of, like the one that's got sidelined basically. And then like the humor itself is just like, it's plenty of like, jokes that kids can enjoy, but there's tons of it that like resonate a lot with adults and teenagers. I remember when my dad watched Shrek at the time, he's like, that was like one of my favorite movies I've ever seen.
Wow.
It's just like everything about it just really, really works. The casting is like iconically great. Mike Myers as Shrek, which is crazy because I think Chris Farley was actually going to voice Shrek.
Yeah.
But then, obviously he died, unfortunately. He didn't get to, but then we got Mike Myers as Shrek, and it's crazy how iconic that became. Obviously, Murphy, Eddie Murphy, as the donkey. Is just like so good. Like Cameron Diaz, fantastic. Even John Lithgow as Lord Farquaad.
Oh my god,
good.
Awesome.
Incredible.
Dude.
I am Lord Farquaad. Just so good.
Do you prefer Shrek 1 or 2? If you don't mind.
I was gonna ask the same thing. That's a
Personally, I like the first one a little bit more than the second one, but the second one's it's insane how great of a sequel that is.
yeah, it is.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, Shrek. I mean, what can I say? Fantastic movie. I think my favorite character in the movie is Lord Farquaad. If I'm being honest.
Gingy's probably the best character.
Who? Gingerbread Man?
Gingerbread Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Can you imitate his voice? He's like the highest pitch.
I can't.
You're a monster. You're a monster. Drop tight.
There's like a torture saw. That was great. That was good. Not the gumdrop buttons.
Yeah.
I love the scene in the beginning where Farquaad's like torturing him.
Yeah. With a glass of milk.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
Yeah.
Yes.
I know the Muffin Man.
Sure, he lives on Drury Lane.
She's married to the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man.
That's one of the greatest plot points in cinema history when they just create the giant whatever you call it, gingerbread man in the Shrek 2.
Oh god. With I Need a Hero of all songs playing. Such iconicism right there.
Honestly, though, I think one of my favorite lines of film history is, "Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make."
Yeah. Farquaad is GOAT, man. But also Prince Charming in 2 is pretty great, and the Fairy Godmother. It's insane how much the quality of those films fell off the map after Shrek 2. They become like unwatchable like pretty quickly.
Yep. But Puss in Boots 2 revives that.
Right. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
We'll see what happens next in the cinematic universe.
I mean, apparently they're making a Shrek 5. Let's hope it's not dog shit.
Isn't it by Illumination though? Like that's what.
I don't know.
Don't bring.
I really hope it's a rumor.
Don't put that evil on us. Don't put that evil on us.
We need to exercise Illumination from the world.
I mean,
God, yeah. Oh, geez, it's Illumination is.
It is.
Right, yeah, that's evil.
That's a bummer. That's a big bummer.
Neon rated. Get on this. Get on Shrek 5.
What the
it's
fuck
an
happened?
A24 Neon production. Shrek 5.
Yeah, Janus Films.
Do you guys know the first Shrek movie played at Cannes?
Yeah, it did.
You know that? That's so crazy.
The second one was actually nominated for the Palme d'Or. Too.
Wow! Wow!
Yeah,
like no animated movies ever get nominated for the Palme, and like Shrek 2.
You know,
I love it.
People can the festival and it was nominated for the Palme, which is amazing.
People can shit on Shrek all they want, but you have to admit it's a great example of the hero's journey in film. Like it's so well done, so well written. It's such a great satire on fantasy.
It genuinely is like brilliant. Like the writing, at least in the first 2 movies, it's so smart. Just so creative. I think it still holds up amazingly.
It does.
Like, the concept, it's just like borderline genius.
I know people pick apart the animation that it looks dated, but like pretty much
not really.
No, not me. I know, but that's like what people's like nitpick about it, that it looks like shit nowadays, but I don't really. I'm also not like an animation like nerd or anything, so I'm just there for the jokes, man. I'm there for the vibes of Shrek.
Yeah.
And, like, the technical. I mean, Shrek is like the animation, like in the first 2 Shrek movies, aged better than something like, I know it's like Pixar, but something like Toy Story. I think like
the first Toy Story looks like dog shit, to be honest with you.
It looks awful now.
It looks really. I love the movie, but it looks bad.
It kind of looks cursed. Yeah.
It looks.
Yeah.
It looks like AI imagery, like that would be cursed now.
That's something Small Soldiers did better. It's the CGI.
Soldiers.
The CGI of Joe Dante is definitely better. I saw Shrek on 35mm last year when I was visiting home, like super drunk because it was like a midnight screening, and me and my friends went, and it was like one of those like Rocky. I don't know if you guys have been to like Rocky Horror Picture Show screenings where like people quote
Oh,
it's
yeah.
called
the
the
lines,
theater.
and like people are like in cosplay, and like everyone's just super amped to be there. It was the loudest fucking screening. Like every line people were shouting. And in a way it was a little rough, but like once you got into it, it was like you're at a concert for Shrek. Like you're at a fucking like Metallica concert where you're just screaming your head off, and it was pretty great. And
I just went to
so fun.
heavy metal in 35 millimeter at midnight too. So it wasn't very packed, but it was definitely a lot of fun. I mean, everyone was just laughing, having a good time. I mean, people were like shouting stuff at the screen. It's really good vibes.
Heavy metal.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Carlos, didn't you attend one of those events for In the Mood for Love with all the people screaming and laughing and everything?
Green, red.
Yeah.
Touched.
Yeah.
They touched
They
hands.
touched.
Yeah. I wish
Tony Long.
I wish I could say that was a great experience, but it was not. It was, oh my God. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, is this another rant where Carlos saw a movie and people were talking? Oh no.
Apparently,
I feel Carlos's pain, like seeing like a great movie and everyone's laughing for absolutely no reason.
it's
at all.
like
No,
It's like-
I definitely, yeah.
I only have this problem
Why?
with like art theater crowds. Like every time I go, like when we watch like some sort of like classic movie, like any like slightest attempt at humor, it's just like met with like an uproaring fucking laugh. I'm like, oh my God.
the Nickelodeon laugh track. It's like, what is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
The Drake
got
and
the-
Josh, like, whoa.
Drake and Josh, yes.
Like you'd be surprised. Like everybody who I told this to, they're like, for what? For In the Mood for Love? I'm like, yeah. They're like,
How
what
could
the-
you?
They're like, I don't remember laughing one time during that whole movie.
No,
Like,
there's nothing to laugh at.
No. I've seen Mulholland Drive twice in 35 with super packed crowds. I honestly have to be real. Those are some of the worst experiences I've ever had in a theater. It was god freaking awful. There's a shot. I mean, the shot earlier in the movie where it's just like it just turns around and you just see the old people just in the back seat. Just the whole theater just like erupted and
Yeah.
laughed. It's like, what is so funny about this? This is just. I mean, I get it's Lynch and it's like. I mean, it's kind of like a darker sense of humor, but these people just would not shut up. It was really.
You know what it is? I've been to a lot of Lynch screenings, and it's like people that want people to know, like, I get the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I get
Yeah.
I get
That's
what
what it
Lynch
is.
is going for. Like, I remember Blue Velvet, which that's one of my favorite movies ever. And like every time Dennis Hopper was on screen, like even the sex scene, which is really grotesque and like hard to watch, like there were dudes behind me like, oh shit, oh my, like he was such a good actor, man. I was like, ugh.
You know what? I can give them a little bit of a pass on something like Blue Velvet because of just how fucking outrageous.
Sure, yeah,
it
it
is.
was just a lot like piled
But
up, you know.
still, like I honestly I wouldn't imagine going to a theater screening for fucking Blue Velvet because it was. I mean, yeah, like even me, like there's some parts of it that are like so absurd, like with his acting style in that movie that you can't help
Sure.
but kind of laugh at it. But like I can just only imagine how obnoxious and consistent it would have been watching that in the theater.
I've actually
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
Velvet in the theater. Ironically, like there wasn't a peep during that one, but
Wow.
during, like Mulholland Drive and like Eraserhead wasn't as bad, but especially during Mulholland Drive, the theater was like roaring just for absolutely no reason. I mean, a character could be walking down the sidewalk, and everyone is like dying. Like it was the funniest. It was horrible. Like
Jesus.
many times where I was thinking, I just can't do this anymore. It was seriously this bad.
Yeah, it takes you out immediately. That's why I couldn't even like get the experience of watching the Wong Kar-wai film because it was just like
Dude, that
Sure.
would drive me insane.
after it was all said
Yeah.
and done. Like I mean, I remember the first time I watched the movie, the ending like made me fucking tear up. Like it was just like that powerful. And then in the theater, I was just like, I didn't. I felt like nothing, and I was wondering why. I'm like, why am I feeling
Yeah.
like nothing this time? And it's like probably because the
Just-
fucking theater was taking me out of it.
They robbed you of
Just
your
heard the
tears.
artsy
yeah.
guys. The artsy
Artsy
guys are
dudes.
like, "Whoa, what's he whispering? What's he
Yeah.
whispering?"
Look, I actually want to make a movie like this soon, so I'm taking stock of everything. I will say for Mulholland Drive, I do cackle at the Billy Ray Cyrus scene every time I see it.
Oh, yeah,
Pretty
no,
hard.
Yeah.
there
Like
are
that
some
scene
like
is so funny.
hilarious parts, but
You see,
like every second. It
the,
was every second.
the really fucked up thing about it is that, especially with films like Lynch, they give people like almost a window to like laugh in certain things, because are moments like the Billy Ray Cyrus moment that are meant to kind of like be more comedic because of how like just kind of silly and absurd it is. So like when you give people that vibe, it's like you're like setting up like a foundation for them to not be able to decipher like what's supposed to be funny and what's not, even though for normal people like us, it's obvious what is supposed to be funny and what's not. But just I guess for them, they just like take anything like at that point to be like absurd humor, and they just fucking treat it like it's a fucking like sitcom or something. I have no idea.
I said
Preach,
like us normal
preach.
people. Lynch fans are animals.
Lynch fans are among the worst. Like, we could do a ranking one day of the worst fan bases, but they'll definitely be top tier. Also, this makes me realize that we got to do a worst theater experiences podcast, because we've gone through so many tangents, especially doing it with Carlos, where we do a lot of sidebars about like I just brought up The Witch that one time. He's like, "Oh fuck, dude, hold on," and you had like a 10-minute story that was like really good.
I dread the day I go share a theater experience with Carlos. He's like the King Midas, where every theater he touches, there's a bad experience that'll happen with the crowd.
I'm definitely bad juju. if you come with me, like you should probably just expect a bad movie experience.
You got the diarrhea touch just for movie theaters.
Oh man.
All right.
Anyway, I'll do my number 5, and I'll keep up with the Bill Griff Mikey tone for, what did you call it, Bill? You could like trashy
brain rot
comedies. Apatow Dick McKay style comedies, Rogan weed, whatever you want to call it. We all grew up during that time, so there's no escaping it. But
Rogan
weed, Franco sex, all that stuff. My personal favorite from that era might be kind of a hot take, but it's right up there with Superbad for me. But it's Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh hell yeah!
Which is one of my ultimate just comfort watches, because I think I'll talk about the comedy after, but like on a deeper level, I think this movie like really tackles like depression, post breakup angst, and sort of like above the whole like the title of the movie, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, like it's really about a man who's like emotionally distant from the world and kind of comes to terms with that and like discovers who he is as a man. And I think like you don't see that a lot in studio comedies. So I think that's like what you saying with Superbad, like how it's so, there's like a warmth to it. Like you have a better outlook on the world after it's over. Like I always love when comedies pull that hat trick, when you're like, this made me laugh my ass off, but also like made me like realize something about myself as a person. As silly as that sounds when you're talking about like Apatow era comedies, but like that movie really does. And like I could watch it like with my friends and have a ball, or I could watch it alone and like have a really profound experience watching it, as silly as it sounds. But I love that some of the best comedians of our generation like having such a great time, like aside from Jason Segel, like Paul Rudd's character in that movie as the surf instructor,
he's so good. The weather outside
is weather. I quote like everything he says in that one scene probably like multiple times a week, like when he's like I don't wear a watch anymore. He's like, oh, that's so cool. He's like, yeah, it's like my phone has a clock on it, so I don't need it anymore. He's like, and they're just like staring at each other for 10 seconds. It's so great. And like Jonah Hill is the waiter.
Oh, he's
like,
so good.
He's talking to his friend. He's like, I can't sell you weed right now because I'm at fucking work right now. He's like, oh, hey, mahalo. And it's just like, it's so great.
So I came over here to give you my mixtape.
Yeah. Russell Brand, like Russell Brand's like a garbage human being, but like that's the best. He's so funny in that movie. Like I gotta give it to him. And yeah, like I said, like the Dracula musical at the end of Bill Hader, just like cherry on top, man. I just love this movie so much. And I think it's like if you're talking about like the Superbads and all that stuff, like for me, it's when they balance drama and comedy so perfectly. When it's like probably like 80% comedy, but then there's like there's sprinkles of like life, lived in experiences from the writers that are like making these movies. Like I think it's just really special. And that's the one for me, man. But Superbad's up there. I love Superbad so much. But yeah, and Jason Segel's dick is in the first like 10 minutes of the movie,
Yeah.
which is a great, amazing scene, like one of the best openings to any comedy I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, the best.
The kind of, it's not a sequel, but the movie they made after that with Jonah Hill and
Get him to the
Russell
Greek.
Brand,
Yeah.
Get Him to the Greek. I actually like that movie. I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time, but
It's good, yeah.
I have a great time with it.
It is. It's definitely more like a silly road trip comedy, but like there's some really hilarious like scenes in that movie too.
I just like the whole thing surrounding, like, I remember it was about like thematically speaking, it was about like the music industry and like poking fun at just like the fucking like soullessness of it, and just how like rid of like nuance like popular music has. But yeah, personally, I haven't seen that movie in such a long time, but when it was out, I watched it a lot, and I had a lot of, it's same with Sarah Marshall. Like, I watched that movie a shitload of times. They're both really good. Obviously, the Sarah Marshall is better, but still, they're both really good.
I haven't seen either myself. I forgetting Sarah Marshall was I remember in like the early 2000s on TV like a lot, but
all the time.
I've always heard it's one of like the better like 2000s Apatow comedies, and you definitely sold me on it, Jake. I mean, that's awesome. Like how you said it can one day be like a great comedy, and other days it can be more profound. I think that's actually a really wonderful, and I definitely piqued my interest in I know.
Nice.
I do love comedies. So,
Yeah.
I love I can still sell Forgetting Sarah Marshall in 2023.
Yeah. No,
I love that.
Oh, that's great.
What are you saying, Bill? Sorry.
I have. It's been a minute though, but I will say yet another iconic Bill Hader performance. And Jason Segel really put his mind, body, and soul into that role. That's for sure.
Emphasis on body too. Yeah. Just the best. Yeah. Mike, you want to do your number 4 now?
Sure. I didn't even think what to order these. I'm just gonna pick from the top of the stack. My number 4 is again another comedy, but definitely it's a different type of comedy from like the other guys in like Superbad. In Bruges by Martin McDonagh. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, just in general. But this is just also just a movie, I know, that fits right in there with that definition of what I define as the comfort film. Just something I can put on any day of the week. It can make me laugh, and like you said, it can make me feel certain things if I'm in the right mood. But in Bruges, I've seen this movie so many times, and I liked it like the first couple times I saw it, but I just think this movie has just aged so beautifully. I just find a new line of dialogue, just a new like just new things in like the performances and the characters and their chemistry that just always just gets better and better. Particularly Ray Fiennes in this movie, who honestly just personally just one of my favorite comedic performances of all time.
So good.
In this movie, just I think he's quite honestly just perfect in this movie. Like every single delivery of his line is impeccable, and it just always leaves me in stitches. But I don't want to overshadow how good the chemistry between Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson is in this movie. It's so funny, just so natural. Just really feels almost like a classic movie. I don't know how to describe it, but there's just something so fresh and just so entertaining about this movie that I can never get enough of it. And yeah, I've seen it so many times. I've shown it to many people, many friends. Pretty much everyone has enjoyed it, and yeah, I love it to death, and I can't say enough nice things about it because I just think it's probably honestly still my favorite Martin McDonagh movie. I have to see Banshees of Inisherin again, but this still holds a very, very special place in my heart, and it's absolutely one of my favorite just comfort movies, one of my favorite comedies, and just movies in general of all time.
Yeah. God, we're talking about way too many good movies right now because I could talk about them all day, because that's also one of my favorite movies. That was a movie I saw early on that made me fall in love with like screenwriting, and like you were saying about lines that like linger with you for days, and like how quotable it is, but like how much like thematic and like emotional resonance. They all every line of dialogue in that movie means something, while being just like gut busting, hilarious, and quotable. And like you were saying about Ray Fiennes, like
Perfect.
everything is a pitch perfect like performance. Obviously, the inanimate fucking object scene is like
Classic.
iconic. I didn't want to quote it because I would scream it, but like it's
I would too.
good. I always think about the scene when him and Brendan Gleeson are talking like over a beer before they get in a gunfight. He calls him a cunt.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, you and your cunt fucking kids. He's like,
Yeah.
retract that bit about my cunt fucking kids. And it's like such a
That's
fucking
an amazing scene too. One of my favorites actually, the scene where we first see him go into, if you haven't seen, I'm not gonna really spoil anything, but when he goes to get guns, like when he first comes to Bruges,
Yeah.
and he's like making fun of the dude with the blank in his eye. Like all the stuff, just every line, dude. It's so good. It's just so, it never gets old for me. I love it so much.
No.
And as you were saying, it's such a rich movie too, in terms of like the symbolism it has, especially with like religion. How like the whole movie is like almost like a metaphor for like purgatory, like in a way.
Did you learn that in Cinefix?
Sure. Yeah, but I think it's pretty obvious, honestly.
Nah, I'm fucking it. Of course.
Yeah, considering like the conclusion of the movie, but yeah, I love it. I think there's so much goodness in there that just gets better and better every time you watch it, and I can't even keep track of how many times I have seen it. But
Is that your guys' favorite McDonough's as well?
For
Mark
sure.
McDonough? Yeah.
For sure.
Oh my God. I don't know, man.
He's got a lot of great movies. So
Personally, I fucking love the 3 that I've seen. I love 3 Billboards. I know that one's kind of like divisive among his fans and people that watched it, but I love 3 Billboards. I love Banshees, and I love In Bruges. It's really hard for me to pick a favorite, so I really couldn't tell you right now, to be honest with you.
I mean, all I'm saying, Carlos, is that Banshees, 3 Billboards, they didn't include that tower scene with the American tourists. Just saying.
Use a bunch of fucking elephants.
You have a fucking elephants.
That's a good point, Bill. That's a great point. Also, 7 Psychopaths is really good.
It's really good. It's very underrated.
That's pretty underrated
good.
for sure.
That's the one I
Really
need to
good.
watch. I haven't seen it.
That's
really
still.
good.
I think that's what's his name? Sam Rockwell. I think that's like his best work ever.
He steals the show completely.
He's so good in that. Yeah.
Isn't he the guy with the teddy bear? Isn't he the guy with the teddy bear in the film?
I think so. It's like I don't want to spoil, but there's like a whole
bunny
like
in the movie.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. He's incredible in that.
Christopher Walken too. Don't forget he was in that too. He was amazing.
Fuck the cops.
No fucking cops.
No fucking cops. Yeah, that movie's gold.
Oh
too,
man,
really.
that movie, I feel like it's pretty much guaranteed that I'm gonna love it whenever I watch it.
Oh, it's a
great.
banger. It's just so fun.
I don't think I've seen it since it first came out, like 2012, 11 years ago. Oh my god, I remember seeing the previews for it in the theater and being so excited for it, and it living up to my expectations.
That film was awarded probably best dark comedy on this Watch Mojo list of top 10 dark comedies.
Yeah, that's the only list that matters. I love watching much.
Love those
Fiction.
guys. Yep.
Yeah, shout out to Watch Mojo. Sponsor the show. Sponsor the pod.
Their voices sound so natural, so lifelike, like very much not like AI.
No, not at all.
To Watch Mojo videos, that guitar stock noise.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm definitely gonna put some of that in the intro of this video now. I have to.
At the beginning of every pick we have.
Here is Mike's pick. AI generated voice.
Number 3. Mike's
all right, Bill, what's your number 4?
I'm bringing it down to horror because I gotta admit, as much as I love comedies that make me just so happy to be alive, there are also some horror films I have a deep, resonant feeling with. And there's a lot that I was looking at, and I was really tossing up a few. But I think I'm going to settle on The Thing as being one of my favorite comfort horror films.
Love that.
There's just something so iconic about it. It's so timeless. I can watch it anytime, any time of the year, especially is great with Christmas and cold ass weather outside, feeling that cabin fever. But
Sure.
The Thing is just a great movie to watch with friends too, especially people who've never seen it before. It's just such a great horror movie to put on and enjoy. I know that's a bit off from the comedies, but it is kind of funny. You know, it's a funny movie to see. To figure out, who's the sus person, who's the Among Us imposter.
The funniest scene of all time is the blood test scene.
Oh yeah,
Really good.
That
Comedy
movie,
gold.
that movie fucking traumatized me when I was younger, so I can't call that a comfort film.
That's fair. I'm with you, Bill. Though, like that's a movie I've been watching consistently since I was like a teenager, and like I know like every beat to it, and it's so perfectly executed that you could just watch it. And like if you want to watch like a great horror movie, that's always one that I grab around the holidays and like snuggle up around the cold weather time, I guess too, because like it's like the coldest movie ever made.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the dialogue is so great too. Like it's basically 12 Angry Men in Antarctica. It's
That's
It is.
pretty good.
12 infected men.
12 infected men and one dog.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible that you could be the alien.
I'm
Is that your
like
Henry
a
Fonda?
blood scientist.
Yeah.
we gotta see Henry Fonda in the new Thing. Yeah.
He's like 120 years old. And the fucking thing is parasitic.
That's so good.
You don't really mean you'd change into me.
It's funny you say 12 Angry Men though, because Carpenter like always talked about how much he loved Sidney Lumet and like Howard Hawks and like these really like tight thrillers like Rio Bravo and stuff like that. So they definitely take some inspiration, I feel like. So
Oh yeah, I saw during the Sight and Sound poll list, he had like 4 Howard Hawks
He had
movies
in
his
a
top
row. He's
10.
like,
yeah.
like
That's
this
crazy.
man must like Howard Hawks. Yeah. It's great. Yeah, I love that movie. Carlos, what's your number 4?
All right. So kind of like what Mike did. Like the first, I mean, Shrek is a great movie and everything. It's fucking, to me, it's a masterpiece, but this is more like, you know, I guess more Kino for lack of a better word. But it's The Big Lebowski.
Yes.
Oh,
I didn't even
nice.
think about that. Oh, fuck.
I was considering
That's
it.
a great pick. Oh my
So
God.
easy, though.
That's the
Lebowski.
ultimate comfort film. Oh my God.
Yeah, The Big Lebowski, dude. This is a film that, yeah, I mean, pretty much with every film that I have on this list, I've seen an endless amount of times. And The Big Lebowski is one of those films where, to me personally, it gets better with every single watch. It's crazy, like with every single watch, you somehow love the film even more.
Oh yeah.
And it gets to the point where you just find everything funny about it, like literally fucking everything funny.
I completely feel you on that.
Yeah, like
I agree.
Like the first time, like I watched it, like I liked it and everything, but I wasn't like in love with it. But the second time I watched it, I'm like, I found myself laughing a lot more. And then now it's just like, again, the more time, every time you watch it now, every little fucking thing that happens in the movie, you just find like just comedy gold.
You just like just find like comedy, just like the way like people like move and like just talk in that movie. Just, like,
Yeah.
little mannerisms. Just you get to that point where it's just you're just in stitches. It's
Yeah.
so good. Yeah.
Totally.
And I think a lot of great comedies do that to where like you get so on board with like its shtick that like at that point everything about the movie's hilarious.
At the very least, you're just smiling like ear to ear. Like you just can't
Yeah.
help it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and the characters, this movie's fucking like it's a very like conspiratorial, like, you know, almost nonsensical kind of movie in a way, which is like in Coen Brothers fashion, they kind of like to do that. But this film is like such a great, like, you know, rabbit hole kind of movie where you just get to meet so many different types of bizarre characters that all are honestly fucking iconic. Like when you think about it, Donnie is like a very plain character, but just the role that he serves in the movie is iconic as well. The dude, obviously, Jeff Bridges is fucking incredible. Walter from John Goodman, incredible fucking Vietnam.
All-timer best performance.
Yeah.
Over the line.
And over the line.
Over the line.
Oh man, yeah, and like I don't know. It's hard to pick a favorite character, really, but I might
The
have to go with
Jesus. Come on.
Jesus. 8-year-olds, dude.
I think my
8-year-old.
favorite character is the police officer who makes fun of the dude for
Yeah.
Leeds. They got
Leeds.
some death.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We got 4 more officers on the case,
We're
man.
working around the clock.
Leeds.
They got us working in shifts.
Yeah. That is the best character. You're right. You're right about that.
I think about that scene just I don't know for no reason. I don't even know what I was doing the other day. I was just like laughing, making myself laugh, just like thinking about stupid lines like that. It's such a simple movie, I think, but it's just freaking hilarious.
Fucking, I don't know though. Fucking Walter is so fucking funny in that movie.
Mhm.
Like when they're at the fucking diner and like the dude is trying to tell him about the fucking toe and he's like, it's like freaking.
That's
the fuck
not her
out.
toe, dude.
Not her toe, dude.
I'm finishing my coffee.
Yeah, I love that.
That's so quotable. You know who I mean, Sam Elliott, of course, is the heart and
Oh
soul.
yeah.
I also love, I think it's like Peter Stormare, who's like the head of the European guys, who's like, where's the money,
Yeah.
Lebowski?
Yeah. The nihilists.
The nihilist, yeah, that's the
Yeah.
Don't forget Flea. Flea was in the movie too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Unironically, one of the best Philip Seymour Hoffman
It is.
performances too.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
Oh,
His
yeah.
laughs in that film.
You were talking about the way people walk, like the way he's like walking down the hallway.
Yeah.
The dude he's like so stiff.
Yeah.
He's right in here. He's been locked away for hours.
I love how
Yeah.
I love how much Hoffman's character loves Lebowski in that movie.
Mhm.
Like like when he goes in there, he's so serious. Like when he's talking about how Bunny was kidnapped and he's like trying to tell the dude about it, and you see like Hoffman's character all serious and sincere there, like super
like-
emotional.
He's like Mr. Smithers, you know, and from The Simpsons.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that
Like
makes
his
sense.
right hand man.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's telling him about the kidnapping. He's like, mind if I do it, Jay? And he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
fucking A.
Bummer, man.
It's a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie. I'm so mad I didn't think of it because it's like that's like I watch that movie like 3 times a year, no matter what. It's like
It's just so fucking good, dude.
it's just perfect.
It's just so, oh my god. I mean, in terms of comedies, it makes me laugh like to an insane amount of. And like Mike said, even in moments where you're not like not laughing,
Yeah,
you're just smiling like so hard. It's just so
exactly.
fucking good.
Yeah, Jackie Treehorn, Ben Gazzaro as the porn director,
Yeah, dude.
just so good.
Oh, was Ben?
Yeah, it's Ben Gazzaro. Yeah,
Oh, really? I had no idea he was even in the movie.
Yeah.
Dude.
every time I'd watch a Cassavetes movie, I'd just be like, oh, that's Jackie Treehorn, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, whenever I see him in any movie, I just think of Jackie Treehorn.
And the bad guy from Roadhouse, of course.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Oh,
man.
this is an all-timer great pick right there. But I'll do some Kino too. Definitely not on level the Boski, but we talked about Kelly Reichardt, so I gotta talk about a Kelly movie really quick because she's my ultimate comfort director. Just her style, her sensibility. Not going to talk about Wendy and Lucy, but I will talk about Old Joy,
oh,
which I love so much. The score by Yo La Tango is just so great. This really minimalist cinematography in this movie just warms me up. And just the notion of this movie I find so relatable, like that friend you have in life who's kind of like, I feel like you can see yourself as both characters no matter like kind of in different ways, but like that friend you have that's sort of adrift and he or she might be sort of like lingering in your life, and you kind of feel like you envy them in certain ways, but you also feel so bad for them. And I find that dynamic, like you don't see it a lot in movies. So I find it really comforting that like that's captured on screen so well. And just like the notion of going in Oregon to like a hot spring is like the most comforting thing ever. Like that's the whole conceit and like plot of the movie is going to a hot spring. And it's just so, I watch that movie a lot because it's also like a comfort movie can also be really short, in my opinion, like something you could watch before bed. And that's a movie I throw on all the time because it's like 78 minutes long or something like that. Like it's It's just like right above an hour long. So it's not definitely not my favorite Kelly Reichardt movie, but I think it's like her most comforting and most watchable, like one that you could rewatch over and over again. It's not that emotionally devastating. It's very simple. It's just about a friendship. It's just about two guys going camping. So yeah. That's Mike. I know you want to go on a deep dive of Kelly. Like that's the one I'd recommend you watch.
Interestingly, I've
After Wendy.
I actually did start Old Joy a couple days ago. It was really late at night, so I didn't get to finish it. But
Okay.
I was really, really enjoying it, and that's the next movie I'm probably gonna finish when I have a minute. So
Hell yeah.
yeah,
Love
I'm
that.
really stoked you picked that one out.
I just love it. And even the cover of the Criterion is like just like watercolors of like I don't know, like a kid's book or something. Like, so it just brings me back to like feeling like a kid, even though the themes of the movie is so adult. It's just like this movie's meant to just ease your mind in certain ways. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I feel like I would love it. I mean, I've loved everything from her so far, so
You will.
I have pretty high confidence in it.
Yeah,
I
you
got
will
like
love
30
it.
minutes in. I really was loving those montages when they were just driving.
There's yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Oh my God, this is gorgeous. I mean, I
yeah.
love like I mean, granted it was the early 2000s, but how devoted Kelly Reichardt is to like shooting on film,
Mhm.
and especially, I mean, those scenes just looked amazing on a 16 millimeter. Same with
Yeah.
Wendy and Lucy look beautiful, but those scenes in Old Joy, from what I saw, were just honestly really breathtaking, and there's not really even that much going on. It's just gorgeous.
Totally.
Yeah. Also, how devoted she is to filming in Oregon. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
beautiful, beautiful wilderness that she captures in that film. And that is a good pick. I would say Old Joy is one of my favorites of Reichardt's filmography. Of course, right behind Wendy and Lucy, of course. That's my favorite. But
Absolutely.
yeah, the portrayal of their friendship is very relatable and simplistic because we all have someone like that in our lives that just kind of slipped away over time, and trying to reconnect, rekindle that friendship is always an interesting time. Sometimes you're able to just pick things up right from back when you last spoke to them. But yeah, old boy. Oh, old boy.
The ultimate.
I was thinking of boys meeting. Yeah, my bad.
The ultimate comfort film right there.
Yeah. Oh, spoiled my number 3 right there. No, but Old Joy is a great film. I would definitely recommend to you, Mike.
I'm gonna finish it 100%. I'm very much into Kelly's style right now. I'm really captivated, to be honest.
Let me know what you think of it, because I could talk about that movie for a while, and I just like everything Bill said is I totally agree. But yeah, do you want to do your number 3 then, Mike?
Oh, gladly. All right. Yeah, most of these are comedies, but I'm just gonna go ahead. My third pick is Little Miss Sunshine. And
oh yes.
Yeah, I've seen this movie more times than I can even count. I just think this movie is such a perfect balance of really like a hysterical comedy and just really just amazing just character moments and just character drama. I think like the dynamic of this family in this movie is just really interesting. Honestly, very riveting. So all the performances in this movie are amazing, just from top to bottom. And I mean, I don't think it's as like quotable as like a movie like In Bruges or Superbad, but I can't help but just really be just enamored by this movie's humanity and like humor every time it's on. And I've seen it just again more times than I can even count. It never gets old. It just really does feel like one of those movies I can just pop in really at any time and it will just hit in the really just in the right place. And yeah, definitely one of my favorite movies in general. It's kind of a shame these directors, I mean, what's the name, Dayton and Ferris, didn't really do
Doing Marvel, right?
lot. I mean, I know they've done like a couple movies, but this really was, I don't know, like I almost describe it as like lightning in a bottle. It's just beautiful. Not much else I can really add to it, but again, one of my favorite comfort movies and one of my favorite movies in general. So Little Miss Sunshine
Nice.
would be my third
Good
pick.
pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Steve Carell in that movie a lot. Like I think that's like his best dramatic performance I've ever seen personally. Like I'm not a fan of the McCabe movies so much. So like I think he's like that's like one of his best roles ever. Like I remember seeing that when I loved The Office. I'm like, holy shit, this guy is like a really good actor. And obviously Alan Arkin and everyone in that movie is like so damn good.
Oh yeah, no, the way all the actors just balance comedy and drama.
Yeah, Toni Collette, of course.
Yeah, Toni Collette is fantastic in it. She's one of my favorite actresses and definitely one of the most memorable performances, I think.
Did you see Mafia Mama or whatever it's called?
I have. Like I already forgot that was a thing, but no.
Mafia Mama.
Mafia Mama.
I know, and that's like an actual movie.
Is that another decapitation film of hers under her belt?
Spectacular.
No, dude, I agree with you, Mike. I fucking love that movie so much. Little Bit Sunshine, dude. I watched that movie. I haven't seen it in a while, honestly, but there was like a good like window of my life where I was watching that movie a lot. And it's just, yeah, I agree. It balances drama and comedy like better than most movies I can think of. Yeah, it's hysterical. There's moments in that movie that are fucking hysterical, made me laugh so hard. And there's moments
with them in the band for sure.
Oh my god, yeah, so good.
Yeah, such a crack up.
But then there's moments that like really like they kind of like yank tears out of me. Like there's like it's kind of I think the first scene I could think of is the scene about the ice cream where her dad's being like mean to her about that.
Oh yeah.
That scene kind of tears me up a little bit just to see him be like so fucking like rude to his daughter about her weight. It just fucking
it just makes me mad.
Yeah.
Greg Kinnear.
Greg Kinnear's a piece of shit in that movie.
Yeah.
Freaking jerk. But where his character goes towards the end of the movie.
Yeah. There's redemption for sure.
Oh yeah, there's redemption. Yeah. I mean, the ending to this movie I think is definitely
perfect. Yeah.
It's flawless. I think it just pieces together the whole movie, just brings home the message of the movie so well.
Yeah. And that ending is so good.
It's like life affirming, honestly.
I tear up just thinking about it. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Them on stage together. Yeah. So good.
Beautiful
it's
portrait of a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
sorry, I thought you were saying more. Yeah, it was a good pick, man. Bill, do you want to go next?
Yeah. All right. No more horror. I just wanted to throw one horror out. Number 3. God, this is so tough because I have so many on this list. I'm literally just shuffling through a list on my notes app of something to throw out. I think I'm going to go with something that means a lot to me in my heart. And I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do a little cheating here because to me, all 3 of these films kind of are an amalgamation. I all think of them as one and the same, and that is the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Oh, I love that.
The trilogy, not the
Crystal Skull.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Some weird fanfic one that came out with Shia LaBeouf. But
what about the Chris Stuckman fan film?
Yeah, that's canon.
I was gonna say that's canon.
That's young Indiana Jones. But the first 3 are just so iconic to me. They're so important to my childhood upbringing. I would always watch them on VHS coming home from school on the weekends. Anytime I was bored, I'd just throw on Indiana Jones and watch him beat up Nazis. There's just something so satisfying and affirming as a child to see like this dude who's just an archaeologist just wanting to dig up some things and put them in a museum before Hitler gets to them. It's a really iconic adventure films that I grew up loving, still love to this day. Anytime I'm really, really bored, I'll try to throw on an Indiana Jones film. But yeah, those are very special to me.
Nice. Yeah, I grew up with those as well. I recently rewatched Temple of Doom after Ke Kwan won the Oscar. I just felt the urge to go back. And like I had in my mind, I'm like, this doesn't hold up from my childhood. Like it definitely wouldn't. And it's still like incredible in my opinion. Yeah. It's like definitely the lesser of the trilogy, but
My personal favorite of the three is The Last Crusade with Sean Connery.
Oh, that's a great one.
That makes for also one of the best Father's Day films to watch.
Yeah.
Because
really
their
good.
relationship is built so naturally, and you already know from the first scene where they're at and how disconnected they are. And the adventure they go on just creates a great dynamic between the two. Of course, have James Bond as his dad. That's the only logical actor to pick.
Incredible casting, yeah.
Yeah.
That might be the best one of the trilogy. My roommate had a good point about that, where it's like it's oddly like a really personal movie for Spielberg, because like if you see The Fabelmans, like he had a weird relationship with his dad, and that movie feels like kind of like a, I don't know, like a exploration down like some past traumas he had with his dad in like an Indiana Jones movie. So I think that movie's really special too. I'm a big fan.
I've actually never seen any of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's like one of my biggest like blind spots and like sins when it comes to film. Like I just haven't seen any of them. I mean, I always heard about them as a kid, but for some reason they never really I never came across them. So one of these days I have to watch them.
Yeah, just don't watch Crystal Skull. This is what the advice I'll give.
No, you can skip that one.
I actually did watch that one in the theater when I was a kid.
What?
With no frame of reference for the other three, or something. Fuck
Nope.
it. Yeah.
I don't remember anything about it except for that horrendous ending that has to do with aliens.
You're just like, who's this? Who's this old ass man in fucking khakis running around in the prison?
Why is Shia LaBeouf here?
Yeah, all I knew was that it was an old man and then the kid from Holes.
Yeah.
Dude, Holes is a great comfort watch. I'd like unironically.
Oh,
Holes is actually on my notes app list.
Really?
I'm looking at it right now. I'm not gonna bring it up, but yeah.
Holes rock.
I didn't even think about that one. Fuck, dude. Holes is an ultimate like comfort film for me. Like,
yeah. Well, what Bill was saying, like movies that you throw on as a kid, just like constantly. I threw Holes on like probably every week at some point. Like, man, they're going to God's thumb again. Hell
yeah.
I recently had a conversation with people about how Holes is essentially, I think, Carlos, you were there, how Holes is essentially Stalker, but for the US. Like they go to the green zone.
Yeah. What if at the end of Stalker, they're just like, they start eating onions and like water the ground.
Yeah, and you also have them like laying down in the water because they're all soothed and like speaking philosophy.
Wow, it's a good. It's a. I
Madame,
never thought of that.
Madame Zeroni is the stalker that leads them.
Madame Zeroni will climb the mountain.
If you forget to come back for Madame Zeroni.
Tarkovsky's Holes.
Jesus! Oh, that's great.
That is Shia LaBeouf's finest hour right there.
I peaked. Agree. He definitely peaked in that film.
He peaked in Holes, yeah. Also, John Voight and Tim Blake Nelson's peak too.
Oh yeah, and Patricia Arquette is in it.
And Sigourney Weaver is in it too. It's crazy cast.
Complete Kino cast.
Wow.
Yeah. Henry Winkler's like his dad, right? In that movie.
Yep.
Holy crap! Yep. That cast is stacked.
That's insane. Yeah.
And his mom is the church lady from Dogville.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What is happening?
She's also the bus driver from Forrest Gump, and she's actually in a lot of like fucking great movies.
Yeah, she's actually she's also the second victim in House That Jack Built.
Yeah, she is.
She's a Von Trier regular, huh?
Yeah, she's actually is.
She's like the female Harry Dean Stanton, where she's just in all these Kino films.
That's a good comparison. Carlos, what's your 3?
Oh, okay. Pretty awesome that you went with this a Spielberg film, Bill, because I'm also going to go with the Spielberg film here.
Nice.
And it's Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude, this fucking movie. Again, like one of the films that I grew up with, watched it a billion times. Still, like, I watch it at least like 2 or 3 times every year or more. And to me, it's just a super comforting movie. Even as a kid, like it was a terrifying movie, but like not enough to traumatize you, but like just enough to make you feel super on edge as a kid. And And it's just, I mean, this to me, Jurassic Park is a whole package. Like it's a thematically rich film. It's funny as hell. It's suspenseful as hell. The special effects are just like out of this world, especially for the time, and it still holds up quite well. Yeah, like on every front, like this film is to me like absolutely amazing. It's my favorite Steven Spielberg film, and one of the most like comforting films. Like whenever I'm like just not feeling well, or whenever I don't really know what to watch, like Jurassic Park is like it'll always fill in that hole like every single time. Yeah. What's more to say about it? I mean, everybody knows how fucking amazing that film is. Again, Jeff Goldblum, so iconic in this film. Just plays like such a cynical smartass in the movie, but he does it so well. Sam Neill, also fucking amazing. It was really weird seeing him in Possession. Because I've only seen him in Jurassic Park, so when I saw him in Possession, I'm like, what the fuck? That's a drastically different kind of movie and role. But yeah, Laura Dern, how could I forget her? Also amazing.
Oh,
the goat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, all around, I really, really fucking love Jurassic Park. You really can't go wrong with it. So, yeah.
That's also one of the films that I would plug in on a VHS tape as a little kid.
Me
and
too.
I would actually mute the TV with friends, and we would speak the voices of the dinosaurs. Like I'm really bored.
Wow.
Great pastime.
That sounds like a great time.
Yeah.
You can tell we grew up post like 90s, if we're all watching Jurassic Park on VHS. I own the CD of Jurassic Park, and that was one of the first CDs I had for my Walkman. And when I was like 6-7 years old, I was listening to the soundtrack on repeat. That's one of my favorite movies as a kid. Also, I'm with you. That's my favorite Spielberg too.
Yes.
It's like I never thought. I honestly, for some reason, Carlos, I never thought of you as a Jurassic Park guy, but I'm glad you're on board. We did a whole episode for the Cinebums about it, so if anyone wants to, we talked about it for like 3 hours because me and my brother are obsessed with Jurassic Park as kids. So
holy shit, I have to watch that.
Plug that. Yeah. It was fun. It was fun going back, and I watched that movie again, like every year, and not similar, like Indiana Jones, because like the sequels are terrible. So like I don't go back to like the whole franchise. It's just the first movie.
I actually watched Jurassic Park in 3D in theaters when they like did that thing. Like,
yeah, me too.
And it was awesome.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Every sequel to that movie is dog shit, if you ask me.
Okay. Hold up. What about in Jurassic Park 3 where the dinosaur talks to him? All right.
I like 3 a lot more than the other ones. I'll say that.
Yeah. 3 is actually 3 is actually pretty entertaining, like for better or worse. Yeah.
It's just one that Vince Vaughn is in.
Vince Vaughn's in The Lost World.
Lost World. Okay.
Yeah. If you acknowledge it as a bad movie, Jurassic Park 3 is great.
No, I agree. 3 is like a guilty pleasure, but like every Jurassic World like movie is unwatchably horrible.
Dude, fuck those movies. I cannot stand those movies, dude.
No.
They took like a fucking dump on my childhood with those movies, dude.
Yeah, the first and second Jurassic World are fucking terrible. I didn't even bother with the last one because it was fucking long and a lot of people hated it. So I was like, I'm definitely not gonna see that shit.
Yeah. It's just as bad as the other ones. They're all equally like 2 out of 5 stars. Just like
my God.
Yeah. But the first one, perfect movie.
First one's great.
Yeah.
So many great side characters too. Like Sam Jackson's characters, the IT guy.
The cigarette is like always
hold on to your butts.
Wayne Knight,
Wayne Knight, yes, has one of the most hilarious death scenes in the film. And next to the lawyer, of course. The
lawyer's is great too. He's always taking like a shit. He's
always
That was another thing where I saw Seinfeld for the first time, and I just couldn't stop seeing the guy from Jurassic Park. When I saw Newman, I was like, that's fucking the guy who steals the eggs and everything when I was a kid.
Yeah, he's so good in that movie.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Dotson. We got Dotson here.
We got Dotson here.
Nobody cares.
That's a great meme. That's a great meme too now.
Also a side character, but he's not necessarily funny. But Bob Peck, R.I.P. He died shortly after this film. Who played Muldoon, aka
Oh,
the
yeah.
clever girl.
Clever
yeah.
girl, yeah. That
Yeah.
guy's great.
Great.
We didn't even
death scene.
mention John Hammond. I forgot the actor's name. Incredible. Richard Attenborough
Yes,
is the old man. It's so
Yes.
good.
such a great cast. Oh
Yeah, it's a like perfect cast if you ask me. Speaking on perfect movies, my number 3 is I'm going on the same lines of like things I watched as a kid just repeatedly. And I own this on VHS, DVD, and now I bought the Blu-ray as I grew up. But Napoleon Dynamite was a movie that I watched. I can't even tell you how many times. There was a wave when this movie came out. I don't know if it was similar for you guys, where just like all my friends and like all my friends' like older brothers were watching this movie. Just like if you're ever at like a friend's house or like at my house or just like your own house, this movie was like on for like all the time. It was like a huge pop culture like explosion from like a small independent movie, which was crazy. And this movie to me is aged like a fine wine because as a kid you're laughing at the absurdity of it all and just how off kilter the dialogue is and how everyone you were talking in Lebowski, like everyone's mannerisms, like John Heder as Napoleon Dynamite just feels like a walking ball of like angst and disgust, and he's so fun to just like observe throughout this movie. And I think there's I'll go back to Sarah Marshall. Like there's a profound meaning to this movie. I think is really special. Like about ultimately it's kind of about like finding, your purpose in life as a kid, like on top of how absurd all the comedy is. And like the tones of this movie are so weird, but like it's really just about a character's journey to find his place and like to find friends and like just like kind of like a path in the midst of all the craziness of this movie. But aside from the serious side of this movie, this movie, in my opinion, has the best side characters in cinema history. You could go down the list of like Rex from Rex Kwon Do, Uncle Rico,
Yep.
Uncle Rico, Pedro, everybody in this movie.
LaFonda.
Kip.
Yes.
Oh my god, dude.
God, man.
Also, Napoleon Dynamite is the first Marvel film with the post-credit scene.
Post-credit. The wedding. Yeah.
They're coming in. I like the doll for John Heder.
Yeah. She's like on the
bouncing.
But like the opening credit scene with like the food and everything, just like from the second this movie starts, it's like it brings me back to being a kid and like and even watch it, I still find new things I love about this movie every time I watch it. It's just like it's so rich, it's so unique. And I know Carlos before was talking about Nacho Libre before we started. Like I wish Jared Hess was still making movies like this because he was such a like distinct voice in like independent comedies in the mid 2000s, and like this and then Nacho Libre was such a perfect like 1-2 punch.
It just fell off
during he did, really like I wish he came back.
It's sad. He had such an eclectic aesthetic about him with those two films. If almost like in the nicest way possible, it was like the Trailer Park Wes Anderson. Like, that's
a great way to describe it.
Yeah.
There's something so beautiful about it too, and so heartwarming about his films.
There is
awkwardly beautiful. Yeah.
There's not like an ounce of like cynicism or judgmental like point of view on his characters too. Like they're all a lot of them are dickheads in Napoleon Dynamite, but like they're really treated like delicately. So like it's not like a mean-spirited movie, even though like everyone has a really negative attitude and sort of outlook in the world. It's kind of like it's optimistic in that way. And like the final shot of them playing tetherball, like last time I watched it, I like cried like a baby. I don't know what it was, but like, and the dance scene I just love so much. Like God, just everything about that movie is just like it's one of the movies that got me into like loving movies was Napoleon Dynamite, and it's the best. I can't understand if you dislike Napoleon Dynamite. Like other movies I can, but like that movie I can't forgive. I can't forgive it.
Same. I remember Cynic in the Discord gave it like a 6, and that offended me. And I was like, "What the fuck, man?" he also gave School of Rock a 6, and I was like, "You're killing me, dude."
That was my big honorable mention was School of Rock too.
But I will give him credit. He bumped it to like a 7. So
Good.
Not good enough. Not good enough.
For Napoleon Dynamite, not for School of Rock. But anyway, yeah, I love Napoleon Dynamite so fucking much. I'm really glad you talked about it, because that film, my God, dude, it's, again, like one of those films, like it doesn't matter how many times you watch it, it's just fucking hilarious. There's so many just like memorable scenes in the movie that I just fucking love. One scene that I really love is when he tries to go and make money, so he goes to work at like the farmers like
Yeah.
for a little bit.
Yeah.
He tries to eat the sandwich and like make like a concoction of the he's like
This
he takes a sip of-
He drinks
This
like
cow
egg
has
juice.
a 5th nipple.
Like raw egg yolks.
Yeah.
like, do chickens have large talons? Large
What?
That's like
I
a
had-
dollar an hour.
I had a sweatshirt as a kid that said, "Do the chickens have large talons?"
Oh, that's
And I had to vote for Pedro. Oh yeah, and
Yeah,
he gets paid in like pennies, like
Yeah.
$6.
That's like $1 an hour.
So quotable, just yeah, and like what Bill was saying with the aesthetic of that movie is so. It's like the trashy Wes Anderson.
Also, another comparison with their dialogue is it kind of harkens to Yorgos Lanthimos, sort of.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
everyone
yeah,
just
yeah.
speaks. They don't speak like human beings. They just talk so weird. I don't know if it's an Idaho thing or not, but those
It must be,
characters.
yeah. It's like a Mormon-esque, kind of like dialogue where it's like people don't know what to say, so they just stare.
I just love the fact that Napoleon Dynamite, Mass, and The Whale are the 3 Idaho movies I can think of.
All
Those are-
Kino.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
We gotta have a movie with Brendan Fraser's The Whale and Napoleon, just like have a dinner or something.
He's the pizza guy in The Whale.
Freaking idiot is so fat.
Tina, you fat lard, come get some ham.
Yeah, he's feeding Brendan Fraser on the.
I need to know that I voted for Pedro.
Eat the food.
Thanks for your vote, man. Pedro's a king, man. I love
Brendan,
Pedro.
eat.
Eat the food.
Yeah, dude.
Greatest movie villains I was gonna say is Uncle Rico, one of the best.
Yes.
Oh, chilling.
And I wish I could go back in time. I take state.
He's like, this is the worst video ever made.
I love that line. Because it's like literally what everyone's thinking while watching.
Yeah.
Doesn't he just throw a raw steak at Napoleon's
Yeah.
face or something?
They're eating steak and he rolls up and he whips a steak in his face.
What the heck are you doing?
This is like a fucking psychopath. He's like abusing a kid with a steak. Yeah, God.
I love it.
All right, Mike. I think we're on our number 2s, right?
Number 2. Yeah, number 2. All right. Definitely a slight change of pace. But for my number 2, I'm gonna go with the Spike Lee movie, Do the Right Thing.
Oh shit.
But yeah, so this is only a movie I've only really gotten into in the past couple of years. So I don't have like any like kind of long-term like childhood like memories with it. But this movie I've just noticed every time I've watched it, it's just endlessly enjoyable. While I mean there's the commentary in this movie on like racism and just different races and like the dynamic and like a community is amazing. But like this movie's so colorful, like the cast of characters is so expansive that there's just so much to pick up on every time you watch it. Just like it's so funny. I don't think there's a bad performance in it at all, and I think just paired with like the screenplay, which I think is just brilliant. Just really makes it just a movie I can just vibe to really any day of the week. I've watched it with like friends. It's just always just enjoyed really in almost any just situation, I think. And I think that's the quality of like a really good comfort movie. You can just like, and it just has the staying power. We can just pop it in. I know I say just saying this a lot, just like pop it in whenever you can, but really do the right thing. I think you can do that. And I don't know. I love it. I've seen it so many times. And yes, I mean Spike Lee himself, I mean, he plays Mookie in this movie, and I think he's fantastic. I think he's actually a great lead. I love his chemistry with Danny Aiello in this movie, who plays Sal, and his sons with played by John Turturro, and I forget the other actor. I'm sorry, but I think their central like dynamic is very, very interesting, very entertaining, and the way this movie just builds and builds to the end, it keeps you on the edge of your seat, but it also just it just stays consistently just entertaining and just like fresh, just throughout its whole 2-hour runtime, and I just really love it, and yeah, that's my number 2 pick. Do the Right Thing.
Such an incredible film.
It's
Perfect movie.
amazing.
Yeah.
Masterpiece, in my opinion.
I agree.
It is. I kind of want to save my thoughts because I think we're going to talk about it on our 80s episode, but
Oh yeah.
I adore that film too. It's my favorite. It's up there as my favorite, one of my favorite Spike Lee movies. It's like, it's perfect.
It's easily my favorite for
Yeah.
sure. I've seen quite a few of his movies. Seen this, like Bamboozled.
Bamboozled is
I think like The Five Bloods, but not much else. But this is easily stands above them all.
incredible.
Malcolm
fun-
X is pretty good.
Malcolm X. Yeah.
Oh,
I thought you were going to make an old boy joke.
I'm noticing with a lot of our picks is we're picking movies with really great ensemble casts, and Do the Right Thing
Yeah.
is like it's just as incredible. I love we haven't mentioned Ossie Davis as Demare.
Oh,
That's my
incredible.
favorite
Oh,
character.
So good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
me-
good.
Yeah.
And Giancarlo Esposito is bugging out, which makes no sense. Like, he does not seem like he would play that kind of character, yet he does it so well. Oh,
You look at Gus Fring and that guy, you know, like they're polar opposite tonalities, like performance. It's like,
I
holy
just think
shit.
it's like amazing that he's basically like the center. Well, like close to the center of this movie. Like he sets in motion like a lot of like what leads up to the conclusion. But
Right.
he's so good in this movie. So like out of control.
Sam Jackson
I
early.
Giancarlo Esposito in this. He is bugging out to me in this movie at least. And yeah, amazing performance just all
Yeah.
around.
So good. You mentioned ensemble cast. Like another honorable mention I had was Boogie Nights, because like that's like my favorite all time ensemble cast and one of my favorite movies in general. Like I was thinking comfort watch, but like that movie gets really upsetting in the third act, so not as quite as much of a comfort. But anyway, yeah, the ensemble thing, it really resonated. But yeah, Bill, what's your number 2?
what do I got? I'm going to keep on this train Mike has got us here, because I'll be honest, as much as I love uplifting films, I also love movies that just kind of tear me apart. You know, sometimes we need a good depressing film, but I'm going to put a spin on it. This is a film that depresses me, but at the end is so uplifting, in my opinion. That is 2020's Another Round from Thomas Vinterberg.
Yep.
Ooh, sweet.
I just noticed on my letterbox that it's one of my most rewatched films. I think I've seen it 7 or 8 times since its release. And every time I watch it, it brings me this appreciation for life. Although it is a film about alcoholism and how dangerous that can be, there's an ending sequence. I won't spoil for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it's so beautiful. It really is. It's so, I can't help but smile and resonate with Mads Mikkelsen's character, the feeling of just losing yourself in your work or just not being yourself and having to resort to alcohol to feel something, feel joy. Some people have that in their lives, and that sucks. But Another Round tackles that theme so well. And it's interesting because Thomas Vinterberg originally was just going to make it a very depressing outlook on alcoholism, but his daughter died tragically in a car accident a week into filming the movie, and through his grief, he delayed the filming of the movie and rewrote the script to have that uplifting ending. And I think that just adds a whole cherry on top to how important this film is to people, and to me, how personal it is for me. And I'm so glad that it won Best Foreign Film at the Oscars. It was totally deserving. It's definitely one of my favorites of 2020.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite films of the decade so far. I'd agree with. It's a masterpiece. I think what you said about his daughter, I think that was in his Oscar speech, and that was like super moving to me. That he switched up the ending, because like if you see his other movies, they're all very depressing, like the Hunt and everything, and it's a very uplifting outlook at the very end, kind of like signifying like he's not going to give up in life, and maybe he was at a point where he does now. I don't know. It is very uplifting.
Doesn't The Celebration technically count as a Vinterberg?
Yes.
Yeah.
95.
I haven't seen it yet, unfortunately. I need to.
Oh man, it's so good.
But I know he is like involved with that movie like heavily. I'm pretty positive he's like one of the others.
He wrote and directed it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's Dogma 95, so that's why I asked. Since
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sick. That I mean he has such a diverse directing style. I mean, can just pull all these emotions just out of like just horrible stuff like grief. I think that's really beautiful.
Another Round is a film I've only seen once, but I remember it so well, and it was such a fucking great movie. Honestly, that's a film that I really need to watch again.
I loved it enough to buy it on Blu-ray, so I really, it's so due for a rewatch. Amazing movie though, and definitely one of the best endings of like the decade. Just amazing. See, like,
totally.
Filmmaking, just so life affirming. Just what a really great movie, and especially an amazing just final like 10 minutes for sure.
Yeah.
Even though I said it's like a depressing film, there are a lot of great moments of comedy when they're drunk at the beginning of the film, like when the teachers
supermarket.
when the teachers start testing out the waters of consuming vodka in the bathroom and figuring out strategies of how to conceal the alcohol in their breath, or Tommy's character where he's the coach of the little kids and is just obviously drunk off his ass, but the kids have no idea. And I remember a kid in the scene motions to want to drink from his water bottle. He's like, no, I'm gonna drink from that. But yeah, there are a lot of great heartwarming moments in Another Round.
I feel like a lot of youth coaches are probably sneaking vodka into their Gatorade bottles, If you're a coach of kids, you got to be. A lot of them are drunk.
Yeah.
I can't help but also be self-reflective of my own teachers from my youth, just because there's a plot line in the film between one teacher and a student where he feels that kids don't really care about their teachers, and that once they graduate, they won't remember them. They'll forget about them like they're nothing. But thankfully, a character goes through an experience with one of his students. And I couldn't help but feel self-reflective of my own teachers and how much they meant to me, and made me kind of want to check up on them, see how they're doing with their lives. Because even though ours move on, they're still there at the school and they're teaching a whole new batch of kids. And it brings me a lot of respect for teachers, seeing Another Round. And seeing, like, especially with Mads Mikkelsen's character going through a midlife depressive crisis because of being stuck in this same role for decades as this teacher. So, really great film.
I'm glad that I've kept in touch with at least one teacher since high school. She's honestly like my favorite teacher that I've ever had. Her name's Miss Bull. Really awesome name. But she's actually gonna come attend a film festival next Sunday that's playing my film, so that's gonna be awesome.
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah,
that's so cool.
And what's even crazier is that like around like 4 or 5 years ago, I went to this soccer game with my dad in Atlanta, and my dad has season tickets, so he's always had the same seats. I mean, when I went there, literally Miss Bull and her husband were sitting behind my dad for like years, and they like knew each other, and they didn't even know like who. Like, she had no idea that I was like his son. So when I showed up that one time, I was like, hey, Miss Bull, what's up? And they were just like,
Wow.
"Holy shit, that's your son!" I'm like, "Yeah." Like it was like the craziest fucking thing I've like ever witnessed.
That's wild.
But yeah, so shout out to Ms. Bull. She's an amazing person and teacher, and yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, Bill, because that was definitely one aspect of the film that I remember I really loved.
Same. Shout out to all the teachers out there.
Yeah.
Like, in all honesty, like they're doing the Lord's work, and I still talk to a lot of professors from college, and just like those relationships are. I feel like it's like a two-way thing, and it means a lot to me and them too. Like they actually got through to somebody, and it's really beautiful stuff. But yeah, Carlos, you're number 2. You want to do it?
Sure. All right. So you mentioned Napoleon Dynamite earlier, and I'm just gonna say fuck it. I'm gonna go with Nacho Libre.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm
To
just gonna
Jared
go with it.
Hess. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. And that's why I'm glad you brought up Napoleon Dynamite, because now we get to have 2 of my most comfort films on this video. Yeah, dude, Nacho Libre. I mean, I know Nacho Libre isn't nearly as much as of a crowd pleaser as Napoleon Dynamite, but to me, I don't know, that movie just works on so many levels. To me, all of that charm and all of that like awkward humor and like all of the absurdity, all of that works just as well for me as it did in Napoleon Dynamite. It's all there in Nacho Libre, and I'm like all here for it. Jack Black is, maybe besides a few other like actors, I think he's one of my favorite comedic actors, if not my favorite comedic actor. He's in so many of my favorite comedies, Tenacious D, School of Rock, and fucking Nacho Libre. I just love the guy so much, and I just love his role here. It's just like it's just there's something just so like hilarious to me with Jack Black playing a Mexican. It's just like the most amazing thing I've ever seen, and him doing like that accent the whole movie is just like, to me that's like creme de la creme cinema. It's just so good.
Les Fish of Chocolat.
Yeah. Fish de chocolat cinema. Yeah, it's just this movie again, like for me, like from start to finish, this film is really funny, and it's just incredibly wholesome too. And that's why I consider this like a high up there as my comfort film, because it's just such an uplifting and wholesome and harmless piece of filmmaking that I could just watch it like any time of day at any point, rewatch it as many times as I want, and all the value and everything that I get from it for the first time is still there. And even more so, it just gets better with every rewatch too. So yeah, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but like for me personally, it's
Man, fuck
so good.
that. Fuck those
Fuck
people.
the
that don't love
haters. Fuck
Nacho.
the haters.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad. I'm so glad you included that on your list, Carlos. Because if no one was gonna do it, I was gonna put it at my number 1. Because that movie
Oh, damn.
is so good, so iconic.
Hell yeah, dude. I need to borrow some sweats.
Yes, I was Chancho.
I want to win.
I want to win.
It's a good impression of it. It's like, he emphasizes certain words like that, and the
Yeah.
win.
I want to win. He's like, those eggs were a lie, says Steven. They give me no eagle powers. They give me no nutrients.
Magical power.
You could be the greatest fighter that ever lived.
Oh, I love how he tries to rizz up the nun character by sliding toast under her door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's his way of flirting with her.
Yeah. I like when when they're in the room like talking, and she like gently like touches his leg. You hear like a wolf howling in the in the background.
Oh, right.
It's just like little like it's a very quirky film. Again, like we said Ed, like earlier, it's like a Trailer Park Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
I love that term so much. It's like it's perfect. Yeah.
But like all the quirks are there in the same way that you would see like in a Wes Anderson film. And it just all works so well for me. I deeply adore that film so much.
I love how Jared casts so many non-actors too that have such
Yeah.
incredible lived-in dynamic faces. too.
Yep.
Like I'm just imagining, like the guy who regularly attended all of Nacho's fights. You know, that
Yes.
guy who has the
Yeah.
horn.
Yeah.
I love that character so much. We don't even know his name or no
Mm-mm.
dialogue from him, but he just has such a memorable face and expression throughout the film that I can't help but love his character and his presence.
Yeah, he was like Nacho's like #1 fan, like since the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah, he was the cynic of the
Yeah.
Misfit Pawn right there.
True.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that y'all are on board with it because, god damn it, I really love that film a lot.
Yeah, no, I was going through Jack Black's filmography, and he's like the king of comfort movies too. So you mentioned School of Rock, and like I love Kung Fu Panda a lot. I don't know about you guys, but like that's a huge comfort movie for me as a kid.
Oh yeah.
He's just such a he was doing good things for sure. Alrighty. I'll do my number 2 then, I guess.
Mhm.
I'm kind of like Bill. I have a bunch of Blu-rays next to me that I'm kind of shuffling through and just choosing.
Damn.
I'm going back to Kino. I got a Criterion in my hand. And this one's actually a shout out to you, Mike, because I know you love this movie too. It's a Mike Lee film that I love. It's
I know what it is.
Oh shit.
There it
Oh
is.
shit.
Life
What is that?
Sweet. Life is sweet.
Oh,
I think I've talked about it on an episode with like underrated criterions or something like that. So I won't reiterate all what I said before, but like in terms of comfort, like this really takes the term comfort watch kind of literally, because this movie is like designed to make you feel kind of like enamored and in tune with this family's day-to-day life. And yeah, and like it's a very wholesome outlook on like it depicts a working class family like a lot of Mike Lee films do. And a lot of them I love him. He's one of my favorite directors, but a lot of them do kind of like delve into the pitfalls of like capitalism and alienate, like loneliness. Like if you've seen Naked, like it's a very cynical movie, but like Life is Sweet is a really like life affirming kind of depiction on the working class, and I think that's really rare, and I think that's really, like, no pun intended, like a really sweet thing to depict, which is, and like even though if you've seen the movie, like a lot of the characters are really tragic and very emotionally kind of distant from the world, like the girl who has bulimia, and she's sort of like this left wing, like I found this movie really relevant watching it 2 years ago. Like she's a really like left wing sort of like depressed 20 something who doesn't really do any of like the things she really cares about, like the causes. She's really like talking about global warming and like the big corporations that are fucking us over, but she's like kind of like debilitated by all of it, and she just sits in her room all day. And I find that like a really like lived in sort of character that we still like. I have friends that are like that, and I was like, holy shit, like she's very much connected to like modern day sensibilities of people that are just like this kind of mentality. But like the mom in this movie is like she's one of the funniest Mike Lee characters. Like she's cracking jokes like at every line. She's always like trying to keep like she's trying to help what's his name, Peter Pettigrew from Harry Potter. Yeah, he's trying to help her with a restaurant, and he's like sexually harassing her, and she's still like down to help him. Like everyone in this movie, like they feel so lived in and just real, and like this movie just has this tone to it. Like Mike, you could speak on it too because I know you love the movie, but it just warms me up inside. Like it's a nice pot of green tea whenever I watch this movie, and the dialogue just so rich and beautiful, and it's hands down the best Mike Lee, but it's always been my favorite Mike Lee. So
yeah, no, dude, I think you're totally spot on. I mean, it has been a long time since I've seen the movie. I do own it, and now I really want to rewatch it. But I think the way you described it, how it's like a cup of green tea. It is like one of the coziest movies I think I've ever seen, and like I mean the way it just balances. I know this is a common theme with a lot, especially with like my picks. Like a balance of like comedy and drama. I think the movie does it like beautifully, especially towards the end, the confrontation between I won't spoil too much between the mother and the what's her name again, Nikolai,
Nikolai. Yeah.
That's an amazing like climactic scene. That's very subtle. It's very subtle, but there's just so much like explosive, just emotion under it.
Mhm.
And the movie's not really like that really until that point. I mean, it's very light. It's a very just very breezy, but I don't know the way just that final release of emotion. Just it was just so beautiful, and I really do love that movie a lot, and I really do recommend it for anyone looking for a great comfort movie. I completely agree.
Mhm. Or if you want to get into Mike Lee, definitely.
Yeah.
Good
I
action
recommend
point.
any Mike Lee film. Honestly, is great to start. I've
He's one of my
yet
favorites.
to see a movie of his that I've disliked. I've loved every
Same.
one of his.
That
And
one's absolutely a winner too. It's not. I don't think it's his best. I think it's probably like
No.
the lesser of like his '90s trilogy. But it's still a remarkably like a high point in his career. I think, even though he has said like on the Criterion. I don't know if you've listened to the Criterion commentary. Mike Lee has said like it's his worst movie he's made, which I haven't seen all of his movies. So I
I've
think
heard
it's
him
kinda
say
weird.
that.
Yeah, no, he ends
Yeah.
the commentary saying that. Before I go, I just want to let you know this is my least favorite movie of mine, and
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Broke
then
my heart.
he's
it's
just like, fuck you guys, I'm going home.
Yeah.
yeah, basically. But
Just trolled the audience.
No, amazing pick, definitely. Such a great pick.
I'm surprised that he even said that, because like that movie is like some of the best performances he's gotten out of his, like ensemble, like as a whole. Like I feel like collectively the tone and like everything just came together so well. So
It's a wonderful
sorry,
movie.
Carlos, what were you saying?
I was gonna say I've only seen two Mike Lee films, Naked and Secrets and Lies, which is also a Mike recommendation. And Secrets and Lies to me is a masterpiece.
Incredible.
I have
Fuck
a
yeah.
whole like review on that movie, but that movie fucking blew me away. I did not expect that at all. I mean, I expected to like it, but I did not expect to witness like a masterpiece. And god damn it, that movie's so good. Which makes me really excited to watch Life is Sweet. Honestly, Life is Sweet sounds very, very up my alley. So I'm really excited to see
You would
that.
like it.
It's
You know
actually
another
David Thewlis's first movie.
Yeah.
Was like,
First
the-
ever?
The chocolate stuff.
oh gee, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love the movie, but I that scene just
It's hard to watch.
yeah.
The bulimia in that movie is like pretty
Yeah.
triggering, I feel like, to a lot of people, but yeah.
Not really,
You
but,
know,
yeah.
you know who's a character I love in the film who's just, it's so weird seeing him in this role as Timothy Spall as
Yeah.
Aubrey. He's
Yeah.
so kooky and out of place from
I
the
love
from the
Timothy
remainder of
Spall.
the movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Another Mike Lee movie that I wanted to recommend to you, Mike, was Another Year that I saw this year or semi recently for the first time. And that's like, if Secrets and Lies like is his best movie, this is, for me, in my opinion, it's not far behind. I think it's like one of the best things he's ever accomplished as a director.
Nice.
But Secrets and Lies is still like, I think his, like as Carlos saying, like a perfect film all around, like his biggest achievement.
I think definitely one. I haven't seen too many of his later, like late 2000s work, but I actually did watch Happy Go Lucky with Blair.
I love that movie. Yeah.
Atlanta.
Comfort, another comfort.
That's actually another like wonderful like comfort movie. Really, just really comedic, just really light. Sally Hawkins in that movie is amazing. I thought phenomenal.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
It's really almost like grates on your nerves, but you just come to love her so much. I've only seen it once, but I really enjoy that one. I thought excellent movie as well.
That's Blair core right there. That movie too.
We both really enjoyed it. Like
Yeah.
Blair really loved it too.
It's great. Yeah. I love Mike Lee. What can I say? But Mike, do you want to I think it's our last pick, so
All right.
kick us off.
Okay. So I debated putting this in my list, but I just can't help just recognize just the impact this movie has on me, and just how often I find myself putting on this movie. And it's kind of a weird pick, but Y Tu Mamá También is actually
nice.
my number one comfort movie.
Wow.
This movie, I've seen it not like hundreds of times like some of my other movies, but like I'm always so drawn to this movie. I can just pop it in just so often, and it just puts me under this just almost like in a trance. Like this movie has just such a beautiful spell about it. It's just from like the writing, the chemistry between the three leads is just so real. It just almost like feels like I wouldn't say intrusive, but it's just so raw
Mhm.
and it's so compelling. But it's like just so chill. Like the vibe of this movie is beautiful. And that definitely the cinematography and especially the direction in this movie just helps so much. It just really it just puts you in just in the center of like this crazy road trip, and it's there's a sense of like relaxation I get from this movie, despite like a lot of the obviously very, if you've seen the movie, the very intense like sexual like situations and more like intense emotions towards the end, but like the whole just like laid back vibe of this movie, just like a lot of the dialogue, just like the general like scenes where they're just chit chatting, and especially like that dance scene towards the end, it's just really just magical to me.
Yep.
And I don't know, this movie means really the world to me. I wish to like explore it a lot more in detail because I also just love the commentary. It's really like the kind of like the socio-political commentary
Yeah.
and like the narration that goes on through it. But just in general, I mean, as rich and as beautiful as this movie, I just think it's just so incredibly enjoyable from just start to finish. It just never gets old. I didn't really like it the first time I saw it, but the more I see it, the more I just really can't help but love it to death. It's heart wrenching. It's hilarious. It's definitely more towards the beginning. I think there's a lot of really really just amazing, just sharp dialogue, and yeah, just from start to finish, just fireworks for me, and just a movie that the really it just cuts deep, and I don't really know why. It's just again like it almost puts me in a spell. This movie, I think it's really a masterpiece. It's my favorite Cuarón, and I've seen basically all of his movies. He's one of my favorite filmmakers. But yeah, I can go on and on and on. This movie is amazing. Just a
Oh,
10 out of
man.
10. It's just,
That's
Wow.
such a great pick.
thanks so much.
Beautiful pick.
It's honestly one of the most like humanly raw movies I've ever seen.
Totally.
Like everything about it just feels so incredibly touching and human. And yeah, I mean, I absolutely love it. I mean, I'm half Mexican, and you know, from the culture that I have grown up with, I feel like it embodies that like better than almost any movie that I've ever seen. It's great, and in pretty much every aspect I can think of.
Yeah.
And I can definitely see why, like, you know, it's there on your list, and I think it deserves it because it really is like, I mean, for me, it's very like, it's hard to describe the feeling that the movie gives you because it's not really like a full-on positive feeling, but it's not really like depressing. It's definitely kind of like more melancholy, I would probably describe it.
Yeah, that's what
One could say it was lugubrious.
Oh, love that Perry core.
But, no, I completely feel you. Like the feeling this movie puts me under every time I put it on is it's like indescribable. I mean, again, despite like the craziness, it's so beautifully human, especially towards the end. Like I just get honestly just choked up thinking about like the last 10 minutes of this movie. I think is just such an incredible gut punch.
Yeah,
and
it's so subtle too.
Yeah, it's so subtle. Like you don't really pick up on it until I don't know, really you just let it sink in. And oh my god, the music in this movie is freaking amazing. Especially like the end credit song, the Frank song, the Watermelon.
Oh yeah,
that's a great song.
Is so good. Such a part, like one of my favorite just uses of a song in any end credit sequence ever. I'm not going to spoil anything, but considering like what happens to some of the characters, I think, and if you know the history behind that song, it really is the definition, I think, of a gut punch. But it doesn't leave me like, it leaves me like sad, but I don't know, I just feel alive. I think that's the last word to describe this movie. Makes me feel so alive, and I think that's one of the best things a comfort movie can do. Just make you I don't know, just feel something you just can't really describe.
It just puts you in touch with reality, seeing it.
Totally.
I know when I first watched Y Tu Mamá También and it finished, I just felt so quietly devastated from that third act. And yeah, that's such a great pick. I need to rewatch that film desperately. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's everyone should see it. Just if you can handle like really like I mean it's very if you haven't seen the movie, it's very sexually intense.
Horny as hell. Horny
It's
as
a
hell.
Yeah.
horn dog. Yeah, it's a horn dog.
So tasteful. It's just
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I just done with so much respect. It's just very it's raw. It's I know it can be all like ugly for people, but I mean this is the reality of like growing up. I mean for like
Yeah.
a lot of, like teenage boys and stuff like that. And I think it just captures the magic of like I don't know, just young adulthood. So amazingly. Just some of the dialogue scenes, especially the one with Diego Luna and Gal Garcia Bernal when they're in the hotel room.
Oh yeah, love
And
that.
it's so like whoa, just
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't describe. I don't even have the words. It just
I love how they grow to resent each other over like
Yeah.
a woman. It's like that feels so the way it's like executed is so true to life. Like it's indescribable, like you said. Like it's so hard to just like the gestures, the way they look at each other, everything's so meticulous and
Yeah.
it's such like a lived in feel to that movie. And I want to give you credit, Mike. I remember because like I think it was last year you were talking up that movie. We were talking about it, and I'd never seen it till last year. And I blind bought the Criterion because you were saying like, oh, it's like one of your favorite, like top 5 favorite movies or something like that. And I bought it, and yeah, I loved it so much, and I'm so glad I blind bought it and took a chance because it's so good.
I remember that. I'm glad you did. It's just
Yeah.
such a winner. I think I don't know. Everyone needs to see this movie. I think it's just so freaking good. Easily in my top 5 of all time. Just bar none. So
Is that your guys' favorite Cuarón movie overall?
I think for me, yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Oh, I mean,
It's tough.
nothing will beat Children of Men for me,
Me too.
Yeah.
but
That's my
Itama
second.
Tambien is definitely my second favorite.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
argue if somebody said like Children of Men is like their favorite, or they say
Mhm.
it's the best quad on this. This is just honestly more of a personal pick because again, the feeling this movie gives for me, in my heart is just second to none in terms of this like filmography. Like I don't know, even like Roma. I mean, I love Roma to death, but
Yeah, me too.
this one, Itamama Tambien, really it just hits so deep. It's
Mhm.
just so
Wow.
profound in just so many ways, and I don't know. It's my personal favorite. I won't say it's objectively his best. I mean, everyone.
Mhm. That's what I'm saying with Mike Lee. Like, I think Secrets and Lies is objectively better than that, but it's like, it's tough. You know, we all a favorite from a director is very subjective sometimes too, and it's like he's got a great body of work though. Like, I think he's great
He's one of my
overall. So,
favorite filmmakers of all time.
Yeah.
I love his body work so much.
yeah, he's the great. All right, that's a great one to end on, I think too. So, Mr. Bill Griff, what is your number one comfort movie?
The Bill Griff.
So I'm just going to be
Bill Griff.
honest here. I'm going to be honest. It was between 2 Criterions, and it's not Blue Velvet. That's what it originally was going to be.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Directed
that's actually my most watched film on Letterboxd. So,
Carlos Core.
wild. But my number one has got to be Good Morning from Yasujiro Ozu.
I love that so much. Oh my god.
It's the closest film I've experienced, aside from a few other Japanese Criterions, which I won't mention because might show up here. It's one of the only live action films that feels like a Studio Ghibli film. It has that energy, that warm blanket, that feeling of just joy, childhood joy. And if no one's seen it, I know it's kind of a lesser seen film in the Criterion Collection. It's about 2 little boys that grow up in this tight-knit community of houses in the 50s. It's made in 1959. And they desperately want their parents to buy them a television, black and white television, that is, when those were just coming out then. And their parents will not do that. So the boys take a vow of silence until they get it. And what's funny about this film is that I think it's one of the first fart comedies to be made. because there's this
Lot
plot
of
that
farting.
happens in the film where they pull each other's fingers or they tap each other on the forehead and then they fart. And that's the joke. But the farts are so weird. They don't sound like a standard fart sound that we'd hear on
Yeah.
TikTok these days. It's like it's like some weird
Yeah.
ass indescribable sound that is so hilarious. There's also a kid I love who attempts to play the game with them, but every time they tap on his forehead, he shits his pants.
Yeah,
And he has to go back home and get a
he
new
always
pair.
leaves. Yeah.
Oh, not only is it just like a really warm type of film to me, but it kind of also speaks to Western influences on Japanese children at the time. It has a lot to say in terms of how the US just kind of has their shadow over post-war Japan and how the children are influenced and how they no longer have those kind-hearted greetings like the adults do in the film. If you notice, the adults are very, very one note. They always are like, oh, hello, hi, how are you? Wonderful
Mhm.
weather, yes. And the kids are like, man, fuck that. Let's just watch sumo wrestling and
Mhm.
run outside and speak to each other with farts. There's something so simplistic about the movie that I love and adore. And Good Morning is one of my favorite comedies. It's so easygoing and so digestible that anyone can put it on and enjoy as long as you're okay with subtitles. But yeah, Good Morning. It's one of my favorites in the collection.
Yes. I love it. I wish you were on our 50s episode, Bill, because I fought hard for Good Morning because it was in my
Oh.
top 5.
Yeah.
It's in my top like 50 favorite movies of all time. And like we were saying about director's best, like I feel like Ozu's best movie might be like Late Spring, but there's a special place in my heart for Good Morning.
Oh yeah.
I adore it.
I will say I think Ozu's best is Tokyo Story,
Or yeah, of course.
and then Good Morning is my second favorite,
Yeah.
of course, just
Yeah.
because it's just so warm and fun and lighthearted, just great.
It really is. And like you were saying about how it depicts the children versus the adults, like there's like a whimsical nature and like a freeness to them, and the parents are like entering this like robotic sort of way of speaking and acting. Like it speaks a lot of like truth, like what you were saying about how, you know, industrialization and all this stuff is kind of like taking hold on this next generation, but tells it through, like you were saying, like fart humor and like relationship comedy and stuff. It's like it's such a master stroke by Ozu, in my opinion. It's so perfect.
And while most people, like most of our picks here, we've talked about like Superbad is timeless, the other guys is kind of timeless. Good Morning is the opposite. It feels dated. It feels like a time capsule from a whole other period. Just like not just the fact of the television being a new invention, but yeah, just God, how tight knit the community is in the film, because nowadays we don't have that kind of luxury of going next door to our neighbor to strike up a conversation every morning like
Mhm.
these people do, and how gossipy the women are with each other. That's a whole other comedic dynamic. And how all the men just go to one bar
Mhm.
to get drunk and complain. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
each archetype of the family has their own position in life that they have, their own cog in this machine of life. But it's such a joyous life to see on display that I can't help but love it and fall in love with it every time I see it.
Totally. Bill and Mike and Carlos, have you guys checked out Good Morning yet?
Yeah, I love it.
I personally haven't yet. I've actually not seen any Ozu movies, unfortunately, but there's actually a theater in Boston that's actually going to be playing all of Ozu, well, like 13 of Ozu's movies. I might, and I think Good Morning would be playing there. So, I mean, Bill, you definitely sold me.
Ooh.
You gotta
Well,
watch out though. I have a feeling the art house crowd.
Yeah, I was gonna say
die.
I was just
They're
about to
gonna
say the
die
crowd,
laughing
yeah.
at that.
Oh
shit.
yeah, crap.
That's a really good point. Just watch it on your TV, honestly.
Yeah, it's probably
Fuck
for
that
the
crowd,
best.
yeah. Honestly.
I mean, they might even fucking laugh at fucking late spring when she has to get married or some shit. They're like, ha ha ha, bitch.
You know the scene at the end, which they open up to each other, like, huh.
Fucking
Yeah.
feel it. Wait, feelings? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about?
I'm repressed and I don't know how to deal with it. Huh. That's usually what it is, you know.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Mike, I was telling you about the movie Little Men, which is a remake of Good Morning that Ira Sachs directed.
Oh, that's a remake. Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Spiritual. It's the same plot as Good Morning. It's like based in New York. It's very similar, but like that's a quick plug to another movie I love that came out in like 2012. That's technically a remake of Good Morning. So Bill, also, I'd recommend that to you if you love Good Morning. It's so good.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it yet though.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of this movie. Oh, Greg Kinnear. Okay.
Yeah, Greg. Yeah, we were just talking about Greg Kinnear's another shithead dad in that. Yeah.
No, thanks for the rec, and yeah, I'd love to see Good Morning eventually. I know, like especially in the chat, it's Good Morning is very beloved by those who've seen it. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I love Good Morning quite a bit, but I mean, Late Spring to me is, I don't want to say it's on a whole other level, but to me that's like a masterpiece.
yeah,
It's not, I wouldn't say it's like a comfort film necessarily. It kind of is in a way, honestly.
Yeah,
But
all of them are. Every Ozu movie's comforting to me, but
yeah, but I don't know. I don't want to spoil it too much. I won't say much, but yeah, there's a pretty big reason why I wouldn't like be confident to say that it's full on comfort film. But it's still a fucking amazing movie.
that's awesome.
yeah, agreed.
It's definitely sold me on it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an amazing pick. I would have picked it myself too. Honestly, means a lot to me as well. Carlos, what's your last one, man?
All right. So we were talking a lot about ensemble casts earlier, and this one perfectly embodies that notion. And it's also a Criterion. So I'm going to keep the Criterion train going. And it is Life Aquatic,
Oh,
Steve Zissou.
Love that.
Interesting. Okay.
we didn't have a
Yeah.
Wes Anderson yet, so I'm glad we got a Wes in there.
Yeah, I thought at this point we would get at least one Wes Anderson from each person, but
We got 2 Trailer Park West, but we don't have
We
the
didn't get a real Wes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Life Aquatic. Life Aquatic is actually my personal favorite Wes Anderson film. Obviously I wouldn't say it's his best, but to me this film like resonated with me so much, like personally, and like the comedy and the wholesomeness of it. And just like the overall concept and setting of it, like with the ocean and everything, for some reason just really resonated with me. And it's definitely my most watched Wes Anderson film. I watched this film a shitload of times. So has Jen. I think Jen has seen this movie somehow more than I have, but she also loves this movie. I love this movie. Again, ensemble cast is incredible. Bill Murray. I mean, just like every Wes Anderson film has an ensemble cast. Bill Murray, Owen Wilson,
Willem's so good in it.
Willem Dafoe. Oh my God, Willem Dafoe's character is so, I think he might be my favorite character in the movie.
Me
He's
too,
so good.
Incredible.
He's hilarious.
Top 5 Willem Dafoe fits in that film.
Oh yeah,
With his shorts.
Yeah.
for sure. Kate Blanchett is in it too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Remember that?
yeah, she's the
Oh yeah,
She's the reporter, right?
she's the
That
love
comes on.
interest, right?
Yeah.
the pregnant reporter love interest. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a wild role for her to take compared to like Tar and shit.
Lydia
we see
Tarr,
from
yeah.
her now.
I think that was
Yeah.
before she was like a superstar, like
Yeah.
reliable actress. She was still, but yeah, she's great in that too.
Yeah, and I don't know. To me, the movie is just so fucking funny. Like I find like almost everything about this movie absolutely hilarious. And I know like in terms of Wes Anderson's filmography, Life Aquatic is a bit more like on the divisive side. But to me, like Life Aquatic is just works on every single level. I love this film from beginning to end, and it actually gets quite dramatic. In a way that actually usually gets tears out of me. So, in that way, it's not like the most like, perfectly, emotionally safe movie that's just good vibes the entire time. But overall, this film is like the embodiment of good vibes. and it's just a beautifully presented film. Obviously, that Wes Anderson, symmetrical, very like calculated, constructive style is here with this film, and I just love the presentation of it overall. Like, I love the presentation of the Belafonte, where it kind of goes, it shows everything that's going on in the ship while Bill Murray's explaining everything. It's just, I don't know, it's just such a comforting, wholesome film, and it's hilarious, and I love all the characters in it and all the performances, and fucking Life Aquatic is my favorite Wes Anderson film, and I just love everything about it, so that's why it's on my list.
The soundtrack is also like all timer.
Oh man,
like, probably his best soundtrack ever. Like Bob Dylan.
Is super awesome, super memorable.
Yeah.
I listen to the score just like on my downtime sometimes.
It is
just,
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we had to have a Wes Anderson at some point, and I'm glad it's that one too. And that's not even like I was gonna say Fantastic Mr. Fox is like an honorable mention, because like that's like the most typical answer, I feel like, for that. But Aquatic's great, and yeah, he's the king of comfort for like girls on Tumblr and shit like that. So
and Carlos.
Yeah. Carlos's like Tumblr.
What's up,
Wes
Bill?
Anderson like comfort movie. I'd probably pick like Rushmore personally.
Oh, yeah.
Rushmore's great.
Oh, Rushmore's good.
I love that movie so much.
I'd Royal Tenenbaums as well as a movie I love. There's a lot.
Tenenbaums yet.
Bill, were you gonna say something?
For the longest time, The Life Aquatic was my favorite Wes Anderson. So I'm glad you picked that as yours. I didn't know that about you.
Holy shit. Yeah, man. That's awesome. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. Yeah, I fucking love Life Aquatic, dude. It's awesome that was also your favorite as well.
Yeah. Well, now currentently it's Mr. Fox, but we'll see. Maybe upon a rewatch, I'll come to my senses again and go back.
It's hard to find people that like are like in love with Life Aquatic, because it's kind of divisive amongst all of his films. And most people, they wouldn't go to Life Aquatic as their favorite. They would pick like Grand Budapest or Fantastic Mr. Fox or even Moonrise Kingdom or something. But yeah.
I was gonna say mine has changed so many times, like from Rushmore, Tenenbaums, Mr. Fox. So I'm waiting for the Life Aquatic train to roll. Even Moonrise Kingdom, when I was like, that was my first Wes Anderson I saw, and for a while that was like the top. But yeah, he's got a.
I mean, they're all fucking great films, dude.
They're all, yeah. Like Darjeeling Limited, I love too. I think that's really underrated.
Yeah, I watched that for the first time, like maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, and I loved it.
It's great. I'm very excited for Asteroid City. Like whenever he has a new movie, like I rewatch a ton of Wes Anderson movies and just get in that zone. It's just it's always fun. Hell yeah, it's a good one. All right, let's finish this. This is the most obvious pick of the night, but I have to pick it. I mean, Bill, you mentioned Ghibli, so I have a Ghibli, and it's my favorite Miyazaki movie. It's My Neighbor Totoro. I mean, we made an episode about comfort watches. How could I not talk about it?
Hell yeah.
I saw this movie actually at the AMC Ghibli Fest that they do every year.
Yeah,
I saw it a month ago with a friend who had actually never seen it, surprisingly, and he loved it. And while watching that movie, just like I was going through a tough time, and this movie really just kind of like brought my head above water again. I mean, this movie's plotless, basically. Like it's all about, life affirming moments in like these young girls' lives, and like this is a movie. This is like the longest. I kind of did a thing where I looked at my favorites list and I saw like what movies are like the longest lasting from when I was a kid, and it's like I saw this, and like Jurassic Park was another one, but like I think Totoro is the longest lasting to be in my top like 15 favorite movies of all time. And when I got shown this movie like when I was like 5, and like ever since that it's been like part of my life. And I have a poster behind me that's like I spent way too much money on of framed Totoro poster, and I have a book behind me. I'm just such a fan of this movie and what it represents to all ages, all demographics, everyone, and like how it's a comfort to I mean, it's literally their logo for a company based on making really comforting, children's movies. So I think it's the pinnacle, and it still remains like one of the most personal movies of all time for me, and I watch it all the time. So it's a typical answer, but someone had to bring up a Ghibli. I feel like too, just like Wes Anderson.
I'm really glad you did, because I thought like for sure we are gonna have at least 2 people bring up a fucking Miyazaki movie, but apparently not. So
I hate to be so basic, but it's
I almost had Howl's Moving Castle on my top 5.
That too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm glad you presented a Ghibli.
We needed a
I was
Ghibli.
putting Spirited Away in my comfort
Yeah.
movies. That's one of my favorite movies. But,
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Kiki's Delivery Service even is one of my comfort movies. It's like,
Yes.
Any of you guys seen Only Yesterday? Which it's not Miyazaki, but it's Isao Takahata.
I actually haven't yet. No.
That's a fantastic. That's honestly the definition of like a comfort movie. I haven't seen it in a while, but I'd still like highly recommend it if you
Okay.
something kind of like more in that like plotless vein that you're describing, but just very very like cozy and just very heartfelt. It's very little. It's a very little scene movie because the distribution is horrible. But yeah, I highly recommend Only Yesterday if you're into that early like Ghibli.
So like basically the opposite vibe of Grave of the Fireflies.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
totally.
yeah.
How to direct you Grave of the Fireflies.
Birth of the Fireflies.
That's,
That kind of counteracts everything I was saying about Ghibli and how they're like designed to comfort children, because Grave of the Fireflies is like, fuck, I don't know if that's a Ghibli brand. I actually don't know, but like
It is actually, yeah.
It is.
That's
Yeah.
I love that movie nonetheless, but yeah, it's like fuck.
Oof.
Gotta have like a
stories of like
that's
college campuses like double featuring Grave of the Fireflies and Totoro together.
What?
I don't know what college
Wow.
I've read this online somewhere that like
what
somebody
a psychopath whoever.
yeah.
whoever
Wow,
put
what
that
a bunch
together.
of fucked up people. Where is that playing again? I gotta check that out.
Oh, it's a fire double feature.
Or they probably
I mean, I guess it wouldn't be so bad if you do Grave of the Fireflies first, I guess, and then I guess uplift
Totoro to
you
comfort.
gotta
Totoro.
go.
No, you gotta end the night off right.
You gotta end with
Fireflies.
you gotta end with the knife in the neck, man.
Yeah.
Put him down.
Just put him down. Pull a mice and men on him.
You fucking killed her.
Yeah, he fucking killed her. Jonah Hill watching Grave of the Fireflies. Yeah.
There's a security breach.
Oh no.
There's
Piss
security
off.
breach.
Oh.
Just pull
That's
that
one of
lie
my
out his
favorite
ass.
needle drops in film is when they leave the grocery store and it plays like that funk song when they're on the bus.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Nick Lovin's
Yeah.
like picking his nose.
Pick his nose, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even say my favorite super bad line. I think probably my favorite line is when they get back on the bus, like towards the end of the movie, and they find the homeless guy again.
McMuffin.
It's you, Big Muffin.
McMuffin.
McMuffin.
I love that.
That homeless guy like kills it in that movie. Like what a great.
He's in the movie for such a long time, which I
Yeah.
think is the funniest part. Is he just there?
He becomes a key player in the story.
He does, yeah. He passes out in the back and like Bill Hader like gets scared. He's like, ah.
Yeah.
He's the fastest kid alive.
It's just beer. It's just beer.
And crack.
Oh yeah.
Like
Prepared to be fucked by the long dick of the law.
God, Bill Hader, what a king, man. Making a
Oh.
meal out of that role.
I gotta watch Barry. I don't
Yeah,
know what I'm
same.
doing.
Oh, dude. I've seen
Barry's
the
fantastic, yeah.
first 4 episodes, and it's so good, man.
It's
so
incredible.
good.
You know, every Sunday I've been watching the new Succession and then I watch the new Barry right after. It's
Oh,
like
damn.
it's a
That's
great
awesome.
thing to keep
Dude,
up
what a,
with, yeah.
What a wild Sunday to
Yeah.
have Succession and then Barry right after. So you
And
make
they're-
sure to.
Ending. Yeah.
They're both the final season too, so it's like there's like a deep like dread every night. I'm like, fuck, man, it's getting darker and darker.
Crap, yeah.
Barry gets really dark. I know you guys are early on, right? It's like it gets
Yeah.
really dark.
I
Yeah.
am familiar with like how dark that show gets and like how like,
Yeah,
despondent it is. Like,
Like,
towards
I-
the end.
season 3, I was like during quarantine. I was like, I don't know if I can handle this. It's getting like too,
Yeah.
but like in the best way possible. It's like it's
Even
brilliant.
like the episode titles are that like by the end of the show, like I noticed they like all start going like lowercase and like
Yeah,
sound like whoa, what is going on?
Yeah.
Again, I haven't seen the show, so I don't know the context, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom, she keeps like rushing to tell me to watch the show. That way I can get to season 3 because she's like, oh my God, Carlos, season 3 is like going to blow your mind. And I'm like, all right. So, I mean, I just haven't had the time yet, but I'm definitely planning to. I'm definitely planning to like do a Barry binge.
A new Barry binge.
After Succession concludes, I'm gonna start Barry for sure.
Smart. I like. It's nice having them both in one night, but it's like it's better to like savor it all because I feel like I'm just consuming it all in one night.
It's hard not to just consume, man.
No, but I'm like I need to see what happens. Like the formulaic television, it sucked me in.
Fucking coming from Carlos, didn't you watch 3 seasons of Breaking Bad in a day or something like that? Better Call Saul.
That was Better Call Saul. Yeah.
How did you even have time? Like
I got through 2 seasons basically in one day.
Jeez.
I did nothing all day.
20 hours.
Yeah.
Isn't that like that's like like how many episodes is that?
It's 10 a season.
Yeah.
So you did 20 hours. You just
to be fair, I think like the first season of that I did watch, we were like 4 episodes in, so I had like a little bit of a head start there.
Oh, okay.
But
Bill, that's crazy.
We didn't do anything all day. We literally woke up early, and then we were like, let's just like we didn't have anything to do. We're like, dude, let's just take this day to just binge the fuck out of Better Call Saul, and that's what we did.
I love those days when you
when
you literally wake up and then that's your day. It's just sitting.
Yeah, and it was a great fucking day. That was such a good day, dude.
It's watching Breaking Bad like before the final season came out definitely is like a key memory to me. Oh my God, that was so fun. Before the final season even aired, just like catching up. Not knowing like what was gonna happen. It's just I wish I could experience it for the first time again. Same with Better Call Saul. I mean, both.
I love Better Call Saul too. Yeah. In different ways, they're both just top tier television.
Yeah, for sure.
All righty, let's wrap it up. This has been such a long episode, but honestly, I was gonna say like one of my favorites we've ever done because like we talked about so many great, just insanely great movies like all around. Like there was not one, and everyone had such a great like synopsis and just like reasoning behind each pick. So I had a great time, and thank you guys for coming on and sitting like 3 hours I think at this point. Mike, thank you for coming on, and I can't wait for you to come back on the 90s episode to do like a similar. Sure. I hope you didn't pick any movies that's gonna be on your 90s list and then you're gonna have to repeat it. So.
Totally all good.
That's a relief, but thank you, man. It was a long time coming, and I appreciate the last minute fill in for Blair. So
my pleasure. It was awesome to be here. Thank you guys so much.
I had so much fun. Bill Griff, same to you, man. It was so fun, and you're gonna be back very soon for 80s. So
hell yeah,
will get more.
I'm honored. Thank you for letting me come on, Jake. This was an honor. Can't wait for 80s to see how hectic that'll go.
There'll be more contention probably. Maybe we'll see. Maybe, but and Carlos, of course, man. We've done so many episodes at this point, so it's been an honor and a privilege. Same, and congrats.
It's a privilege for me, man.
Yeah, totally. I was gonna say congrats on the film festivals too. I know every time you come on, you have a new film festival that we're just at. So you're obviously in the midst of a lot of good career stuff. So
thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it went really well. It was a lot of fun. It was a great experience. I got another one coming up in I guess like a week and a half now. So I'm really pumped for that one as well.
Hell yeah. I can't wait to hear how it went and everything, and subscribe to the Misfit Pond obviously too. Don't forget about that, and the Discord. You know the drill at this point. We've said it a lot, but also subscribe to the Cinebums on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, all that good stuff. And we will see you in the next decade episode, and thank you guys so much. It was an honor and a privilege.
Thank you, sir.